Hello and welcome to Flicks and Chill with me, Luke,
Jane.
and that's right. And today we have a special guest. He is one half of one podcast and one third of the other podcast, so he is kind of all over the place, but we love him nevertheless. It's Foster.
Hey, thank
Hey.
you. I'm 5/6 of a podcast.
And you are the math teacher, so you would know, yeah. You would
Yeah,
know. No, it's so
that's
nice
why
to
they
have you back.
that's why they pay me the big bucks. Thank you.
That is true. Like I cannot do we talked about this. I cannot do math for shit. Like I can do basic math very well. Like people always like when I do basic stuff, people are like, "Damn, you must be great at math." I'm like, "No, I am not." When they introduced alphabet into math, I'm fucked. Like basic stuff like numbers, yes. Alphabets, no. No, no.
People Variables aren't say that bad. I know people use that line a lot about the alphabet and math, and I'm thinking like that's like so like when you were 12, like
Yeah.
like that it It's not comes like we're
Yeah.
making into you do proofs. yeah.
Uh,
Then I feel like it might be a little bit of a different story.
I like look, I struggle with that part of math. So it's just me. It's just me.
But maybe two math teachers is the wrong audience for this
I was gonna
for
say,
this
like, two math
commentary.
teachers, like, what is this idiot talking about? Like, it's not that complicated, honestly.
It's it's so funny when my math majors that I supervise, they're like, I was talking to one of them and it's just like, she was like, I'm great with math, and then it turns into words, and
Hmm.
I'm like, why are there so many proofs?
Yep.
And I'm like, yep,
Hmm.
that's 300, 400 level math classes are not where I went with my college experience. So
Nope. Nope. But yeah, so as always, we're gonna rant or rave about something. We're gonna discuss a quick pop culture news, and then we're gonna jump into our main subject, which is movies we appreciated more on a rewatch. I think, yeah, we are all going positive, correct?
yes, at
Yes.
least that's what I I plan
Okay.
for.
Mhm.
I sort of pulled one that was negative, but I can do all five positive very easily since that's what most of mine are anyways.
Okay, okay, perfect. And then, as always, we'll wrap up with one quick recommend. Anything pop culture related we want people to check out. So, but before that, as our guest, Foster, what would you like to rant or rave about?
Okay, have either of you, I mean, I'm sure Shane has heard of it at the very least, heard of the movie theater chain Alamo Draft House?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, have you been to one?
Surprisingly, no.
I've been twice, I
Okay.
think. Yep. Both in
Okay.
Staten Island.
When
Uh
did you go?
it's been at least 2 years since I've been to one since.
And so they did the like pen and paper, write your order on the card, put it up sort of thing? Or was
Yes.
it? Okay, okay. So Alamo Drafthouse was a really great theater chain for a while, and it's been undergoing some changes the last year or two that are driving me insane. So the whole premise of Alamo Drafthouse is picture a normal movie theater with the seats laid out, except every other row of seats has been removed and is replaced with a long, skinny table. And so the idea is you have waiters who can bring you food and snacks and drinks in the middle of the movie,
Oh
set it
yeah.
on the table that's in front of you, and then you're just watching the movie. It was great. It was nice. It's kind of a different vibe. Not everybody loves it because maybe it's a little distracting to have food brought to you, but it's a really great time in general, and the food by and large was good. And the waiters were usually really respectful, and they're almost always really nerdy and into movies too. So like before the movie starts, during the trailers, as they're bringing you stuff, they're like chatting with you. It's like an incredible vibe. The whole layout of Alamo is designed for movie nerds specifically. It's very different from like an AMC or a Regal where it's just like a generic movie theater. And it sort of had this homey feel where you would go and you'd be like, this is like where I belong. These are my friends. This is my place, you know?
Mhm.
And the other big selling point of Alamo Drafthouse that they were really insistent on, no phones, no talking during the movie. Every movie theater has these little things at the beginning, right? But Alamo was intense about it. And they would, in fact, say that if someone is on their phone or talking during the movie, they would be kicked out. And they
Yes.
were so insistent about this that they had this like clip show at the beginning. Every movie it would be different depending on the movie. They would sometimes have celebrities come in and like give a whole rant about people who are on their phones. It would be like hammered home in the marketing. They even had a customer complaint one time that left like a 2 minute voicemail. I got kicked out of Alamo Draft House because I was talking for just a minute and they kicked me out and they
Hmm.
said I had to go. And then what they did is they took that voicemail and they used that as one of their promo videos and
I
they put
like
it up on
that.
the screen before
Uh,
the movie. It was awesome. And so it was so fun. The way you order food is you would write your order on just like this little slip of paper and you just slip it on the table right in front of you. And so then the waiters just kind of pass by and they take your order. So it's silent. You don't even have to talk to the waiters during the movie. Um, if you ever had an issue with like, let's say like the people behind you were chatting really loudly, you just write on the order card, hey, the people behind me are being really noisy. And then you just slip it in the card and then the waiters would see, oh, okay. And then they'd go talk to them and say, hey, can you guys keep it down?
mhm.
Like it was a really nice system. So during COVID, Alamo filed for bankruptcy because they did not, their business was not sustainable. And in 2014, it was bought by Sony. So Sony now owns Alamo. And there have been little changes over the past year or two, but over the past like 3 or 4 months, massive changes have started happening. The first big change is they no longer do orders on the little written cards on the table, like the little pieces of paper. Instead, it's mobile ordering. So you do it on your phone. So you take your phone and you scan the QR code. There are no more menus. So what this means is A, there's no more menus, so you don't have the kind of like physicality of, opening it in front of you. But B, you also aren't interacting with the waiters anymore. You're just doing it. So it like removes the social element of it, which I don't
Mhm.
love, but okay. The other issue is though, what if let's say you order a drink and you just want a refill in the middle of the movie? In the past, you just write a little thing on the order card, slip it up. Now you have to actually pull out your phone in the middle of the movie, even if you just want a refill or if you want anything. The idea was in the past, it was just an ongoing thing where you just write on the order card as many times as you want things in the middle of the movie. And now the no talking, no texting, no phones movie theater requires you to use your phone
Mhm.
throughout the whole movie if you actually want food and drinks.
Mhm.
Completely antithetical to the whole thing. What if some other person is like on their phone or chatting or annoying you? What are you supposed to do? There's no more written order cards anymore. You would have to, on your phone, then complain about the person next to you who won't get off their phone. And then, even worse, I even screenshotted it right now. Alamo Drafthouse, who used to have this really fun like video up at the start about like no talking, no texting, or else, sort of thing. Now it says, on it says, P.S. We fully appreciate the irony of reporting phone use on your phone. Just don't be a jerk. That's their new thing that they have at the start. So they're like owning up to the fact that it's a stupid premise, and then they're like calling it out on the thing and trying to be cutesy about it. It's not cute. It actually ruins the whole thing because now you go to a movie at the Alamo Drafthouse. There's no fun social element of like the waiters bantering back and forth with you. Um, you order on your phone. The phone also has many issues, like it doesn't do Apple Pay or anything like that, and it also doesn't remember your credit card info, so you manually have to type everything in every single time. It's very annoying.
Jesus.
You also have to like remember to close out your tab, otherwise it automatically adds a whatever tip it wants. It's got little issues like that, but it's the no phones thing that was the whole like joy of going there because it felt like a little haven for movie lovers. Now, the last time I went there, like a week ago, I am a very picky person. I order the same food like most of the time when I go there. It is different food now. I used to get like these pizzas like every single time I go there. It is a legit different pizza. It's not just like this was a bad version of the pizza. They have changed the dough or they've changed whatever suppliers that they're buying their food from. I got like a couple different things. Both of the things that I ordered last time are just different and it's not the same and for the worse, obviously, is what I'm saying. So
Mhm.
they're like getting worse food too, which is what's also frustrating about it. Apparently, the employees who work at Alamo don't love this either because now they're also getting less tips because like that it's just all automated on the phone and I don't know. I don't think anyone loves it. And then people end up complaining to the Alamo wait staff, but it's not their fault. They didn't want this change either. So it's just completely disappointing how this really nice, homey, awesome movie theater that felt like a miracle has just been corporatized to death and is now. Not only do I think it has ruined Alamo, I actually think it's a worse experience than just going to like an AMC or a generic. a generic movie theater for me because it's distracting all of the stuff going on now at this point in a way that it wasn't before. So that's my rant.
Nice.
Thank
That
you.
was one hell of a rant, I'll say.
Well, I already hated Sony when it comes to movies,
Hmm.
and now they ruined Alamo Drafthouse too. So good for you, Sony. You suck. Um, God, that is absolutely ridiculous. Because like I go pretty regularly to an AMC dine-in theater because that's where a lot of my
Yeah.
press screenings are in Philly, and it's even less distracting than what you described, and that's absolutely ridiculous. That's a real shame because Alamo Drafthouse, I wish there were some closer to me. Like I'm not going to Staten Island or Manhattan every time I want to go to Alamo Drafthouse or go see a movie. So like I don't go very often, but the two times that I went, it was a really cool experience. And they ruined it because they have to ruin it.
I
I
cannot
would
imagine. Oh, sorry.
I probably wouldn't go,
Yeah.
honestly, if I had other choices.
I was gonna say, like you had me like 90% Foster when you described Alamo, before they ruined it, but I still cannot imagine having a full-on meal in a cinema because like I am that person who would, if you even before, if you could order your meals during the movie. Like, I cannot imagine like somebody sitting in front of me and suddenly I see, oh yeah, just, me with a tray, like, this, or like the server with the tray. Oh, here's your meal. I, I like the
It's
idea. I don't
yeah.
like, I am the kind of person like I mean, we had this discussion before, Shane. In a cinema, sit, have a popcorn, have a Coke, d- try not to move, be considerate. Like, like basically, like, I like to have meals when I'm watching TVs or like movies at home, 100%, because I'm not bothering anybody else. I'm by myself, so like, I'm fine. But I'm so conscious of bothering other people in the public, where it's like I cannot imagine like, hey, I'm just gonna order a pizza in the cinema. Like, it sounds cool. I would love that, but like also I wouldn't love it because I know, like, what if it bothers the person next to me?
It's the kind of thing that the first time you go, you worry about that, and then you
Hmm.
go there just a couple times and you're like, oh, it's no big deal at all. And it's
Hmm.
very, very easy to just tune everything out as just in the background.
Yeah.
And because everybody's doing the same thing, if it's not that noisy, it's not as noisy as you think it would be. Now it's a little bit worse, but like
Hmm.
years ago it was great. And also like the perceived distraction of the potential of waiters coming in and out and stuff like that. You think it's like going to be really chaotic, but the way they did it is like you basically just do your orders during the trailers, and then
Hmm.
you don't really have to interact with the waiters at all
No,
really during the movie. They just kind of like drop it in front of you, done. You don't, it's like
no. What I
two
mean
seconds.
is,
Yeah.
like, can somebody order like before they ruined it? Can somebody order like midway through the movie? It's like, oh yeah, I'm feeling like wings, right?
But you don't talk, it's silent. That was the
Yeah.
idea is they have these little pieces of paper. So if you wanted to order something, you take a little paper and you just they have little pens and you just write it and you just slip it in front of you.
No, I
And that's
understand,
it.
but there still
Yeah.
has to be a server that brings you those things. That was
But
my
it's silent.
point.
But it's
Okay.
silent.
No,
Like
yeah,
they're
yeah,
not. They don't have to talk to you.
yeah,
They
yeah.
they're just
I
like,
think what Luke's getting across is that any type of distraction like that's
Like the
going to be
movement, like I cannot.
distracting.
Yeah,
yes,
like I can imagine, like again, especially when somebody sitting like one row, or as you said, like one, like two rows again, I guess, because of the rope, in front of me.
yes,
And it's like, oh, I see somebody corner of my eye that's coming with the food, and I know they're obviously trying to be quiet. Like I would have to
yeah.
probably experience it to actually
Does
like,
it does it distract you when people get up to go to the bathroom during a movie,
if they are in
or do
my
you?
eyesight, yes. If
Okay, I mean, my that would be my comparison then. It's like it's kind of like that where like you can sort of learn to tune it out. Like, oh, I tell can tell there's a
yeah,
person, but like your eyes are not focusing on them. They're generally focusing up there.
no, of course,
It's a different experience.
yes,
I do think if you were to go though and go a few times, again, 5 years ago, I think you
yeah.
I find it like hard to imagine someone not kind of enjoying the vibe and atmosphere of it. It's a
No,
different experience. I wouldn't do Interstellar for the first time
yeah.
in an Alamo Draft House. I would rather see that in IMAX, but like depending on what you're seeing.
Hmm. No, because I think to your point, like, even with the people who go to the bathroom, it depends on the people. Like most people are trying to be polite, so they're trying to like scooch out, like, and like try to do it quietly. But then some people
Hmm.
are just like, I'm just gonna get up, be in my view, and it's like, this tall,
I had
usually tall
this
guy.
I had the same woman cross in front of me 6 times when I was at my screening for Michael earlier this week. And I'm just like, lady, what are you doing? And that's like, there's no trailers at a press screening. I'm like, this movie's 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Mhm.
Why did you have to get up 6 different
That was
times?
my other point. If somebody does it once, okay, fine. But I know people who like exactly as you've described, Shane. Like, five times. I'm like, what? You okay, guy? Like, are you okay, my dude? Like, you having some issues? Like, maybe you shouldn't be in a cinema. Like, if you're having issues, like, okay.
It and it's really disappointing because movie going experiences are generally poor at
Hmm.
this point in general, that the one like safe haven where you could get like a guarantee that people weren't going to be assholes unless they were going to get kicked out is no longer like that,
Yeah.
and that makes me sad.
Hmm.
It really does.
I did
Because
love the
honestly,
no phone rule. That was great.
the food stuff doesn't bother me because honestly, most of the people in the theater are more annoying than having a waiter come in and drop food off in front of you. Even at like a regular dine-in theater, where
Hmm.
it is like they come in right in front of you and plop it on your little tray thing in front of you.
Yeah.
But no, that's just this is just the state of going to the movies in 2026, and it's pretty disappointing
Hmm.
that the bar is so low at this point.
Yep. Yep. So Shane, I hear you're breaking a streak today.
Yeah, I'm not going to be negative today. I have a lot of negativity going on, especially at work at the moment. And I had a really nice moment where I got invited to an end of the year banquet for a program at our school. And I thought they were just inviting me because like I work with them a lot. And they gave me an award, and it was very kind, and it just reminded me how rewarding it is to work with, you know, whether it's young kids, whether it's teenagers, or with my situation working with young adults in college. It's such a rewarding thing being able to be there and supporting people on their journey through their educational experience, and particularly in college, because it's such a transformative experience for people. And it was just a nice reminder on like why I do what I do. Because like to be fair, I have a master's in accounting.
Hmm.
I could have been an accountant and I could be making a lot more money in my life right now. And sometimes I do think about that in terms of how things are going economically and stuff like that. But it was really meaningful to have a nice reminder of like working in education is a really rewarding experience. And it's not always, obviously it's tough because you're never going to get paid enough. But at least being able to be there, whether it's you make a huge impact on someone's experience and their growth, or it's just the little things, it's really meaningful. And I was feeling appreciative
Hmm.
of that experience this week. So there's my positivity. Help other people.
Yes.
The world would be better off with it.
And like and our guest is also a teacher, so I think he can definitely relate to you more than I can.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a weird feeling knowing that um just by doing my job, I am now a figure in people's lives that many of them will remember for the rest of their lives. It's pretty strange just to think about the impact you have as a teacher. Not everyone's gonna, you're not gonna have that impact on everyone
Yeah.
necessarily, but like for some people, and you don't even necessarily know which students that will be that are gonna remember you as like, oh yeah, that was my high school math teacher, that was my college, statistics professor or whatever. It's there is not another job quite like it. I
Mm.
think even something like being a doctor or a nurse where you are like sort of serving people, it's different because teaching is long term, where it's like over the course of the full semester or the full year where you are consistently seeing those same faces like every single day. And so like you form like an attachment to your teachers, or at least I have many memories of my teachers, some that I liked, some that I didn't like, some that have impacted me and who I am. So it's kind of crazy to imagine that I or you or have that impact on anybody.
Mhm.
Yeah, I got to see one of my students present their senior thesis, and I've taught her three separate semesters. I was her advisor for her senior thesis, and I've been her supervisor as she's tutored the past 7 semesters. And it's like being able to make that kind of impact and connection with somebody through such a formative time in their life is really special. And I'm gonna have to hold it together when I get to read her name at commencement because I'm the one who reads all the names for our business students at commencement.
Mhm.
So I get to be up on the stage and close that loop. And it's one of my favorite days of the year because it's such an important day of like you put in all of this effort
Mhm.
and you going across that stage is that big payoff. So,
Yeah, I cannot even imagine. I cannot even imagine. I work in a boring IT job, so I my impact is very limited.
well, Luke, we appreciate you here.
Thank you.
And that's a wonderful experience. And like, I could
Hmm.
talk about, all the connections I've made through all this stuff that I do,
Hmm.
but that's for another day.
Yeah. So, okay, my rant then, I'll make it very vague. We can get into it. We don't have to. So, Shane and I, we are the same age. We're both turning 35. Foster is slightly younger. Guys, are we
Do you know?
tired? Hmm?
Do you know how old I am?
You are, if I'm not mistaken, aren't you like 26? Like, I know
You
you're
got it.
only,
No, you got
yes.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I interrupted your thing.
No,
Continue.
no, no, it's fine. I was gonna say 28, but I'm like, no, I don't think he's even 28. Like,
But it has to be an even number though.
does it have
Can't be
to be
20,
an even
can't be
number?
27. I don't know. You just went from 26 to 28.
No, because I was thinking between even number. I was thinking like either that or that, like, between the 6 or 7, like, how it is.
9-year difference.
Yes, yes. But I think you can still relate to this. Are we, are we, are we ready as this generation, even though Foster, you're the younger generation, are we ready to live in precedented times? Because I sure as fuck I am ready to live in some precedented, boring ass times. Like, give me at least 1 decade, or maybe half a decade, where like politics goes back to boring and doesn't ruin all my life in like in a few days or most or not more not okay not all my life, but like it doesn't make me worried about the future. Give me like at least half a decade where like no pandemics happen or like major economic crashes happen. Like I'm not asking for much, I don't think. Like I'm the amount of times I've been hearing, oh, this has never happened for at least a century, or this is the first time this happened since 1901. And I'm like, okay, cool, cool. It's so nice to live in these eventful times. So my rant is I just would like to go, not go. I just would like to everything to just slow down. And you're like, hey, we, and for history books from like, from 2100 to say year 2027 to 2035, nothing much happened there. Like, world kind of kept cranking on, like nothing major happened, no major wars, no major economic crashes, no pandemics. Like people just kind of vibed. I would love for this to happen. I don't know, it's not gonna happen, but man can dream. So I don't know
Uh,
how you feel about it.
that'd be nice. I'm trying to I I had a moment
Hmm.
of this type of reflection because for some reason Gundam style videos have been popping up on my Instagram feed
Yep.
for so much recently. And I just remember back to like, was that 2012?
12.
And I'm just like, I was in college. My buddy Bobby would just start doing the Gundam style dance when we were at college, just randomly. The song was everywhere. Life was better. And I'm like, life was simpler back then.
Hmm.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah,
And
thanks, Obama.
and thinking back now, it's just like I feel like since 2016, just life has just been what the hell is going on here? And here's the thing, you know, I lived through like I was 10 years old when 9/11 happened,
Hmm.
and then we had years and years and years in war on terror. and fear mongering and all types of stuff like that. And honestly, the past 6 years have just been, quite frankly, a shit show. So it's just like, it would be nice to just be like, can we get a year, like a year where it's like, hey, you know what? 2027 was a good year. I'm not saying this year because we're
Yeah.
already off to a bad start. So, like, could 2027 just be like a chill year? Realistically, the next possible year will probably be 2029. Possibly,
I
but
wonder
I'm
what's
not
gonna happen then, 2029. I wonder why
I
you.
wonder why Shane said that.
Yeah,
But no,
specific number.
I don't know. It's just wild to me. Uh, ugh. How about you,
Foster.
Foster?
Yeah, no, I mean that'd be nice. Yeah, I don't know if I have a lot to add necessarily. I don't know, I enjoy my life, and I feel like there's the world out there, and then
Mhm.
there's the world that I have constructed for myself in here. And I feel like I do a pretty good job not letting those two things mingle. And so while the world is burning outside of my house, I feel like in my house, um, it's well lit at least from the flames. So I'm doing okay.
You're like the dog in that meme, right? Like,
Yeah, that's
the room
me.
is on fire and Foster is there with his tea. This is
Or
fine.
like or like the 5-year-old girl who's like smiling in front of the house
Oh
burning
yeah.
down. You know that one? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, look, like as I told you before the show, I actually like my life. I'm very appreciative for everything I have, everything I managed to
Yeah.
build for myself. Like, I'm not doing bad at all. There are people who have it much worse than me. I'm just like, I think overall, there's this fatigue, especially amongst people my generation and younger, who are like,
Hmm.
yeah, we looking forward to the future with everything that's happening? Probably not. Like, and there's so much that happens because of it. Like, where I'm from, another year, oh, this is the lowest amount of babies that's ever been born ever since like 1850s, ever since we started to keep track. The last year was the lowest number of newborns in Czech Republic on since like almost 200 years. I wonder why. I wonder why. There's many factors. I wonder why many young people are like, no, we're not having kids. We cannot afford them. Many managers like they cannot afford them. Yeah.
That's certainly the case. Um, I'm speaking for myself personally. Um, Personal life, professional life, and the
Hmm.
world are all a little tumultuous right now, so I'm having a moment. But you know
Hmm.
what? At least I have movies.
Yes, that is true.
Hey, I got to go see Mother Mary this past week and get my Annie Hathaways. And I'm looking forward to getting the crap scared out of me watching Hokum coming up this
Hmm.
week. And these are things I could look forward to and spending time with my friends like
Yes.
this
Exactly.
in
Exactly.
digital world like this and real life. So, we're all doing our best.
We are trying our best. Yes. So, do we want to talk some pop culture? All right, Foster, what do you have? Since you are a guest, why don't you just kick us off?
I'm going to talk about DC. I feel like they've been releasing a couple trailers lately. There's a few projects that are coming out soon that I'm
Hmm.
looking forward to, and just by and large, I'm really excited about this. I think I just inherently like DC characters a little bit more than Marvel. I'm not talking like about movies necessarily. I'm just talking about like if I'm gonna read. If you just give me no other information other than here's a DC comic or a Marvel comic, I'm gonna probably pick the
Batman.
DC one. Say it again.
Like Batman.
Yeah, yeah, like Batman. And I just like the vibe. It just has. I mean, not obviously every character's world is different, but there's just something about like a great dark kind of gritty, world building of some of the DC characters that I love. That I feel like we've been missing a little bit with the dominance of the Marvel movies, and so I'm excited to see stuff like the Clayface trailer that just came out. I think looks really really cool.
Hmm.
I'm excited for Lanterns. I think I'm curious what that show is going to be. I've been reading some Green Lantern comics recently too. Uh, I think I just messed up the way I said it. I've been reading some Green Lantern comics recently too. I think I said tooth. And I am looking forward to seeing some of those characters depicted on screen, some of which for the first time as well, with just cool casting choices too.
Hmm.
And I'm looking forward to Supergirl. Like they don't all have to
Yeah.
be dark and gritty. I really liked the James Gunn Superman. For me, that was great because it felt like optimistic in a way that was corny but truthful. Like it didn't feel like it was sort of forcing its optimism. It just feels like, no, this is just James Gunn and this is sort of his worldview that he wants to depict. And I resonate with that pretty strongly because that's kind of how I feel about the world too. Like I watch Superman and I feel understood, his Superman at least. And I'm excited for Supergirl. I like Craig Gillespie, question mark.
Gillespie. Gillespie.
So I just think he's a director who is like the king of, wow, this movie is way better than I feel like it had any right to be. Like if you think of things like Cruella, for example, it's
Yeah.
like who thought anything of that? And that movie is a blast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, Tonya, Lars and the Real Girl, like he does a lot of that kind of stuff. And I I just think I don't know, the future is bright for DC as far as I'm seeing at least, and I'm pretty excited about a lot of those projects.
No,
Until
yeah.
Paramount comes in and reboots it.
Mm.
Yeah. No,
Sorry.
Superman, like I'm also like on your level, very high on Superman. I'm looking forward to Supergirl because I loved her character in Superman. Like the few scenes she's had, I thought it was
Yeah.
great. And the trailer looks fun. It looks, it doesn't look like. I think they're gonna tackle some things here and there, but I think it's mostly gonna be fun, breezy adventure, and we need those. So why not?
They're threatening her dog,
Exactly.
and I'm invested emotionally. Um,
So is she gonna be the
honestly,
John Wick
that
of DC?
honestly got a little bit of that vibe though. No, I think Supergirl's gonna be a lot of fun. I tend to not watch trailers unless it's in the theater.
Same.
So I haven't seen Clayface trailer yet, but that whole entire idea, I've seen
The
visuals
poster.
come out of it, and it's
Hmm.
freaking creepy, and I love it. And Lanterns, I'm looking forward to True Detective with Green Lanterns. That seems really cool. I like that idea. So I appreciate that they're trying a bunch of new things, and there's there's room for all different types of comic book adaptations. And obviously the DCEU or whatever it was officially called, puttered out towards the end there. But like I think if you like comic book movies, the best situation is that both Marvel and DC and others are being successful and
Hmm.
making movies. So I'm certainly looking forward to those projects that are coming out soon for DC.
Did you guys hear about
And the
the?
Batman Part 2
Yes.
when it eventually comes.
In 5 years' time, yes. Did you guys hear what James Gunn said about the Clayface movie, by the way? Like after the trailer released, like a day later.
That it's the first one chronologically.
No, no, okay, maybe. Like no, he
He
basically
did say
somebody.
that too.
Okay, because somebody said, "Oh, this is like a first superhero horror-ish kind of movie," and James Gunn tweeted back, I think on Twitter or someplace. He's like, "No, this isn't just a horror movie," and I'm like, "Oh, now this is interesting." So even James Gunn doesn't see it as a like, "Oh, this is a superhero movie with a bit of horror." No, this is a apparently straight up horror movie, and I'm like, now you have my attention,
So what Scott Derrickson wanted to do with Multiverse of Madness
pretty
before
much.
Marvel's like, you can't just make it a horror movie.
So I'm like that
Um,
Leo meme, from Django. You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Me next.
Yes.
So obviously CinemaCon has happened since the
Mhm.
last time Luke and I recorded.
Yeah.
So there's like infinite amount of stuff that I could bring up. And there's an infinite amount of things I could be excited about.
Hmm.
And not surprising to me, but maybe surprising to others, the one thing that I could not stop thinking about is Spaceballs 2, the new one. And because honestly, I love Mel Brooks so much, and that little video of the trailer, or like the title announcement, got me. Where he's just like, you know what? We promised you Spaceballs 2, the search for more money, but guess what? We found it. And just hands over to a bag of money, and I'm just like, Jesus. And it's just like, oh, you wanted a new one. So here it is. Spaceballs 2, the new one. And
Hmm.
I'm just like, I love Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see that 100-year-old man showing up to the premiere of this movie next year. And it was really nostalgic seeing like Rick Moranis and Daphne as an Eagle looks great. I haven't seen her in a very long time, and her showing up and just this movie could be trash.
Hmm.
It could be whatever. I'm still excited though, and I'm really hoping that just captures the vibe because Spaceballs is silly.
Hmm.
Like I don't think anybody's saying Spaceballs is like this profound, complex,
Peak
deep
cinema.
movie. No, no, it's a blast, and I
Hmm.
love every second of it. And I'm hoping to have the same reaction to this one. So I'm
Hmm.
excited.
Same. I just wish they would keep the, Search for More Money as the actual title for that movie because I just think this is such a great title for a sequel. Mm.
I do. I probably would have preferred that too, but I appreciated the gag that they
Yeah.
pulled out at
Yeah.
CinemaCon about it. I'm
Hmm.
just like, you would make a joke about it, wouldn't you? And he did.
Hmm.
I love me some Mel Brooks. And you will all be getting my perspectives on every Mel Brooks movie next year, as he's going to
Nice.
be one of the directors that I'm covering on Welcome to the Wasteland. So, to be continued.
Cannot wait. Cannot wait. So for my pop culture news, I don't know if this was announced on Comic Con in that like comic whatever that happened or not, but it was announced, and I was like, you know what? We need more projects like these. Miami Vice 85 with Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler. Like two of heavy hitters of today, two up and coming, hopefully like, kings of Hollywood for decades to come, if everything aligns well. And it's gonna be quote unquote dumb action movie. But it's not gonna be a dumb action movie. It's gonna be Jonathan Krasinski, right? So it's and we need more projects with like A-listers with these. Hey, this is a comedy. This is an action movie. This is a thriller. It doesn't have to be all. Hey, we have one of the most talented people currently alive. We need to put them in a heavy drama about like pondering life or pondering this and just dealing with classism, on racism or whatever ism. No, sometimes they can just be buddies, go back to I guess 1985 and then do my advice. Why not? And I'll be there because like that duo seems right. I cannot wait. I don't even need to see the trailer. I don't need to see anything. I'll just be there like a first day. So that's my brief pop culture news. I'm excited for that because I think in these unprecedented times we need fun. We need something like that. And I hope well, Krasinski has a pretty stellar record. I'm a big defender of Tron Legacy. Like, I love Oblivion. Like, obviously Top Gun Maverick. Just yeah, I think he's got a great record, and I don't think he's gonna break it. Like, with this movie.
Yeah, apparently he's doing this instead of Top Gun 3, it looks like, because he's not going to be directing the third Top Gun movie.
Mm.
But I, which is also funny because let's remember, Miami Vice can get heavy.
Hmm.
That show was heavy. I watched a lot of Miami Vice growing up with my mom.
Hmm.
My mom loves Don Johnson. Honestly, they could just throw a teaser on where it's just the two of them dressed up in their fancy Miami 80s suits, and then the do 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 and just kick into the theme song. I'm like, I'm done. You
Hmm.
got my money. Be ready for it.
Hmm.
Great casting though. I do really love the two of them together. I think that's going to be a great combo. And yes, I own Oblivion, I own Tron Legacy. Only the Brave, really underappreciated movie that Joseph Kosinski did.
Yes.
Really underappreciated. So
Hmm.
I think he's really talented filmmaker, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with this.
Yeah. And of course, coming freshly off the Oscar nominated F1, like,
The
that's also
one.
yes. But yeah. Foster, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think the casting is cool specifically because I mean, I'm not the first person to say this, but there's not a lot of people who fulfill the sort of movie star archetype that we used to have with
Hmm.
people like I feel like Tom Cruise is kind of the last of of a dying breed, in
Yep.
that sense, but it does feel like there are some younger people like Timothy Chalamet or like basically anyone in Dune 2, like Zendaya, Florence Pugh, Austin Butler, a lot of these people who are coming up who feel like they are starting to get, actual box office poll where just their presence in the movie can make a difference. Because it doesn't feel like there's been a lot of those people in the last 10 years.
Hmm.
But I think two of those people would be Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler. And so it is pretty cool, I think, just to see them two leading the movie. And I think if the movie is good, I think that will be significant too, because then they will be given a lot of credit for that too. And it will be like the Austin Butler,
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan duo that sort of leads it. And I don't know. I have like high hopes, I guess,
Hmm.
for this movie. I've never seen any version of Miami Vice, so I was just thinking about that too as you were talking. That maybe this will be the thing. At the very least, I'll watch the Michael Mann movie. I can't guarantee I'll go back to the original show, but
I've only
yeah,
seen the
I
Michael
would
Mann movie, and it was fine. Like I watched it only once, and is me having no attachment to the show. I'm like, it's fine. Like
it's got a
it's
cult
wait, Luke,
following.
you've never watched any Miami Vice?
no
Oh,
that
so then you might not realize that that was not like a fun, lighthearted show.
no.
So, yeah, this Miami Vice is actually a pretty heavy show dealing with a lot of like drug cartels and all kinds of stuff like that. So it's just
I- If I remember
flashy.
correctly, the Michael Mann movie also wasn't specifically lighthearted either. But it's
No,
been a
it's
while.
very heavy, and
Yeah,
Colin Farrell's very artificial sounding accent was very distracting to
yeah.
me. Uh,
But to
which
your point,
I'm not the
Foster.
biggest fan of the movie,
Hmm.
but the show is iconic. And honestly, if either of you just watch the pilot,
Hmm.
um, which also has "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins, which is like one of the most iconic needle drops in television history, I think it's at least worth watching the pilot.
Hmm. I was just gonna mention to Foster's point about movie stars. If I'm not mistaken, Tom Cruise himself said Michael B. Jordan should be next. Like, like when they asked him, hey, you seem like the last like proper movie star we have around. Who do you like, who do you want to follow in your footsteps? And he was like, well, I think, I'm not. I think like Michael B. Jordan is shaping up to be the next one. And I'm like, good. Tom Cruise
And Glenn
praise.
Powell,
Well, Glenn Powell, I
his
love
buddy.
the dude. I love the dude. Hollywood wants to push him on us. It seems like so far he's kind of failing, like at least like box office wise. Like his name alone is not really pulling people in. But I still like the dude, so I hope he turns it
Excuse
around.
me, Super Mario Galaxy movie
Oh yeah,
100% made $800 million so far because of Star Fox.
if had they
Fox
not
McCloud,
announced him, yeah, it would have been like 100 million. Yeah, yeah, that is true. That is true.
100%
That is.
without a doubt, facetiously.
Any other thoughts, gents?
Nope.
No. As they nod on an audio podcast. All right, and with that, we can move to the main topic of the show. So movies we liked much better on a rewatch, and why? We each selected about five, and maybe some honorable mention in the end. So let's be basic. So Foster, you go. You start us off. Shane and I'll finish us off. So Foster, what's your first pick?
Okay. So I have a list already, which is part of why I felt like this was a good one to go for.
Hmm.
And um, I have them ranked in order of how big of a jump it is. So like
Same.
a five to a 10 is a bigger jump than an eight to a 10.
Yeah.
And I also have I have like little reasons why they've jumped for me, and I feel like there's little lessons for myself in
Hmm.
there as to like why it's worth giving a movie a second chance. So my list on Letterboxd, I'm trying to look, has 51 movies on it. And it's been a list I've updated pretty regularly over the last like 5 to 10 years. And it's my favorite list that I have on Letterboxd because there are often times when I watch a movie and I feel like I didn't really get what I wanted out of that. I like, for example, There Will Be Blood was one that the very first time I watched it, I was like, I know everyone thinks this movie's brilliant, and I didn't quite get it. This is not
Hmm.
my first one. I'm just sort of like the
Yeah.
genesis of this list.
Yeah. Setting the
And
scene.
I knew it was a great movie, and I could recognize that even as I watched it, but I also could recognize that like maybe I was too young, or maybe I didn't have like the cinema knowledge, to really appreciate it. And then I watched it again like a week or two later, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. And now I love it. It's an incredible movie. It's like one of the great performances of all time. Like I totally get it. And so the first one I'm going to mention is Citizen Kane. because that was one that I watched for the same reason everyone watches it, which is because it's supposed to be the greatest movie of all time. And you're like, oh, well, let's see. I'll be the
Yeah.
judge of that. And I thought it was like, oh, this is okay. I don't really get it. I mean, like, it's just like a pretty standard old movie was my feeling when I watched it. I probably watched it like early high school. And I think I mean I don't think I hated it. I just felt like really like this. It's the story seems pretty straightforward. The performances weren't blowing me away. And then I've watched it a couple times since, and I also watched there's a great Roger Ebert commentary on the Blu-ray too that where he just goes through and it's like a film lesson all in itself where he sort of beat by beat explains to you like this thing was significant because of this and this technique was really not done until da 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 da. That was very helpful for me. But I think what actually helped is when I watched Citizen Kane for the first time, I don't think I had seen a lot of older movies. I think I had probably seen like just a small handful, maybe like a couple Hitchcock movies or something
Hmm.
like that. And that was really all I was comparing it to. And so like of course if I'm just comparing it to like Rear Window and Psycho, I'm like, okay, like those are a little bit more fun. I didn't really vibe with Citizen Kane, but now that I've actually seen a decent number of movies from the like 20s through the 60s. It makes it stand out so much more how Citizen Kane doesn't feel like a movie made in the 40s. It feels like a movie made in the 60s.
Yep.
And it's so mind-blowing because like the editing and the cinematography and the sound design and the performances and the makeup, just all of it feels like so wildly ahead of its time, and it becomes so much more immediately clear to me now, like what an achievement it was and why it inspired so much of the stuff that was to come after. But that's obviously something you can't know without context. So my learning lesson for myself from Citizen Kane is, um, maybe don't judge like just one movie in isolation, if I don't have the context of the time period or the genre. I think it can sometimes be hard to like come at a movie like Citizen Kane and make a harsh judgment on it without any other context or knowledge. And I think sometimes I hear people do that, like when they watch Citizen Kane or when they watch The Godfather or whatever, and they'll be like, "Ah, I
Hmm.
didn't really like it. I thought it was boring." And it's like, but there's so much more to it that you're missing.
Context matters, yes.
On to the next one. Are we gonna?
If
I
you
Yeah.
want.
I
No, no.
I didn't know if Luke, you wanted to add anything about Citizen Kane. I distinctly remember watching Citizen Kane in a film class
Hmm.
Mhm.
and really getting that deep understanding of everything that was really going on, and it's incredibly impressive. And yes, it is. I feel like it's one of those movies where young cinephiles are like, "I'm gonna go watch this." I'm like, "This is boring. People are wrong," and it's just like, no, maybe you didn't like it or it didn't click with you, but it's like it's still one of the greatest cinematic achievements of all time.
Hmm.
So speaking of my film class, I watched Raging Bull in high
Oh.
school, in my cinema class, and I hated it. I'm just like, this is just a bunch of Italian people screaming the F word at each other for like 2 hours. And like that was my takeaway from watching Raging Bull for the first time. And to be honest, it's accurate. Like I wasn't like that's
Like,
not accurate
no lies
about
detected
Raging
here.
Bull.
Yeah, yeah.
No lies detected. Just lost missing all the incredible things that make up this film.
Hmm.
No, and I refused to watch it again
Hmm.
until I actually covered it for my Scorsese series that I did for Welcome to the Wasteland, and realizing that it's one of the most ambitiously shot and creative boxing
Hmm.
films. Just the way that like any of those fights, it's so dynamic and the performances are incredible. And I don't think when I was 16, I was prepared to like truly appreciate complicated characters like Jake LaMotta. I just hated him. And yeah, you're not supposed to like him. That's not the point of the movie. Um, and being able to process that when I was older and appreciate just how incredible a filmmaker. And that was the thing. Martin Scorsese was not a filmmaker that I loved. And now as an adult, there's a whole other level of appreciation too, just also because of representation. There's very few filmmakers that I've watched that have felt so purely Italian American
Hmm.
in their expression and telling stories, and that's something I really appreciate. But no, Raging Bull was one that I absolutely hated. Actually, to point of this list, I actually hated all of the films that I'm going to bring up that I actually think are great films now.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting. But yeah, that's probably the biggest one. That was the one immediately that popped in my head when Luke mentioned this was going to be the topic because my buddy Joe, this is his favorite movie of all time. And I'm like, I remember meeting him and be like, "What favorite movie is Raging Bull?" I'm like, I hate that movie. So and now I don't. So there you go.
Mhm. For Raging Bull, I'll just say I remember watching it. I've only watched it once, but it made such an impression on me. Like I never seen a boxing movie done like this. I only, I only watched Rocky movies at the time. Not even all of them, I don't believe. And Creed was nowhere to be found. That series hasn't even been made when I watched the Raging Bull for the first time. And I remember just thinking, wow, many characters in this movie are pieces of shit, and I think that's the point. And also, then I read, if I remember correctly, Scorsese shot it the way he did, like inside the ring and all that, because apparently as a child he would watch boxing matches on a very tiny TV, and he could never distinguish who is who. Like he could never make sense out of that. So he was like, I wanted to put the camera inside of the ring, so like so basically that fixes that issue. And I'm like, that's fascinating. Like how his choices are informed by, hey, I remember this as a kid, I was confused, so let's do this the other way so we are not confused. And I'm like, this is such an interesting choice.
Apparently, the red shoes is a humongous influence on how he shot those scenes as well,
Red,
which
that's a
is
movie.
which is a completely crazy way of like, you know what? I saw this movie about ballet
Hmm.
and just the pure cinema of it. I'm gonna shoot my boxing fights like this. And it's like and it's there, it's seen and it's incredible. So
Is that why he donated so much money to restore it and save it? Like,
well, it
yeah,
is one of his like five films that he talks about being his favorite film.
yep.
So and
It's
he did do a whole entire documentary where he sat down and did a breakdown of Helen Pressburger's whole entire career. So I'm like, I
mhm.
think he's a fan.
Yeah. So yeah, my list also goes as Foster. So I go, from like least to most improved. So my number five on this list would be In the Mood for Love from Kang Wai. He so the first time I watched it, I don't think I was ready for this slow paced love story for the ages. And I rewatched it last year after I think there was like a 10-year gap or like 8-year gap between those watches, and it definitely helped. Now I'm more ready for love. I'm now more in that mood. Not fully yet. I'm not saying I'm loving this movie. I think there's still something that's holding me back. But I have a sneaky suspicion that, like, if I were to watch it in 10 more years, then I'm going to be almost 45, which is crazy idea. I think I'm gonna appreciate it even more because that's definitely a movie that takes its time. It's paced very, deliberately. However, it's shot beautifully. There's pretty much every scene could be framed and put on a wall. Like every frame of painting, gets thrown a lot,
Mm.
a lot for many movies. But this is definitely like the poster child, some pun intended, for this. Like every frame of painting, and it's a beautiful story about love that could never be. Like it's a definitely like much better picture than I had it for the first time I watched it.
A great film.
It is.
I still haven't seen
And
it.
also a
Oh,
film that I feel like would be very hard to price. I feel like a lot of younger cinephiles jumping into like international cinema too. There's a lot of layers to
yes.
peel back to culturally and stuff like that. And that film's certainly one that there's a lot of cultural layers to it. And also just it's really worth it. We had a great discussion about that on my movie club podcast that we do. It's a great film for sure.
And we had a similar discussion on our last episode about international cinema, how I am so appreciative of watching some movies later on in my life because I can guarantee you if I watched certain movies 10 years ago, I would be like, what is this? This is fine. But now I'm like, oh, this is fucking amazing. Like, now like with the life experience, now with more living through the life and learning more about people, how they behave and all that. It's just yeah, like most many things click much more effortlessly. There's still some like, what does this mean exactly? But like, many things click in a place more than I would have like 10 years ago. So yeah.
I'm gonna go next with
Hmm.
Grand Budapest Hotel, which
Nice.
is a movie that the very first time I watched it, what did it come out? 2014, which is probably when I saw
Yeah.
it. So I must have been ninth grade. I don't know. Well, I was gonna say I don't know if I had seen a Wes Anderson movie. I had seen Fantastic Mr. Fox, but I don't even know if I re made the connection or not that it was the same guy. I just knew that it was getting Oscar nominations, and that I wanted to see it to kind of be in the know. Um, Wes Anderson's whole style was just completely foreign to me, and I didn't really get it. It didn't even register to me as a comedy, this movie, which is crazy to think now. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. This is like a top 20 movie now for me. But like I just remember watching it like in a completely humorless mood, just like, what is this? Like, and I was watching it, I wasn't like on my phone or anything. I liked Ray Fiennes in it because I had liked him already and seen him in a lot of stuff like Harry Potter. And I thought it was a really good looking movie. I remember feeling that even at the time, but I just was like, I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't think it was fun. I didn't know what the vibe of it was. And then growing older and then seeing every Wes Anderson movie and realizing what his voice is exactly and realizing that this is like the perfect encapsulation of his voice, and also the movie is incredibly funny and moving and meaningful in parts too. I think my learning lesson from this one is that sometimes it can take a little bit of time to adjust to like a new directorial or authorial voice, and sometimes it's worth diving into a specific filmmaker to really understand the perspective that they're trying to convey. Even that even sounds silly with Wes Anderson because his style is so overt and so obvious in so many ways, but I think it's just a good lesson for me. Like whenever I'm about to go into a filmmaker's filmography that I've never seen any of their movies before, this is a movie that I often think back to of, you know what? I might not love this Tarkovsky movie. I've never seen a Tarkovsky movie. I might not love this first movie that I watched, but you know what? I'm going to watch a couple of them and I am hopefully going to pick up on the vibe and I will come to an appreciation of it, even if I don't love Stalker the first time I see it? So like that's something that I think about now.
That's a pool of
Um,
Tarkovsky movie. Okay. I see you.
I'm looking over all of my Tarkovsky films off to the left of me because I have
Mhm.
Solaris there and Stalker there and Mirror there, and it's just like
Definitely a
you need to
vibe.
invest. You need to invest some time into
Yeah.
experiencing those for the first time. And there's a lot to process. But I talked about that last time, right, Luke?
Yeah.
Because honestly, I love Russian cinema because of Andrei Tarkovsky. I remember watching Grand Budapest Hotel for the first time, and that was one of those moments where you just immediately watch something and think, "This is one of my favorite movies." And that was my experience seeing it, and God, I had such a blast. And I saw it at the Princeton Garden Theater, which is this quirky, beautiful, old school theater. And honestly, I don't think there would have been any better place to watch that specific movie
Mhm.
than in this older, old school kind of theater because it kind of just felt like the Grand Budapest Hotel itself. And I'm just like, this was a vibe. That was one of the first two movies I saw there. The other one was Birdman.
Nice.
And I just remember just cracking up with my friend when he's like, smells like balls in here. It's like I'm like, well, that's a tone this is starting. So
I think this might be the first time we all see, somebody discuss a movie and we all seen it in a cinema at the same exact time. Because I also watched the Grand Budapest Hotel in a cinemas already in Scotland, and I remember loving it. I'm like, oh, like I don't know if it's my first. No, I've seen Fantastic Mr. Fox before, but so this was my second Wes Anderson, and I remember thinking, "Oh, I need to check out Wes Anderson movies because this was phenomenal. I loved it from the first minute. I was just like, this is so quirky, this is so unique, this is its own thing." And to your point, Foster, you said something like, oh, the style might be obvious or something, but it took you a while or something. Like his style might be obvious, but I think the things he talks about are not that obvious. Like underneath all the quirkiness, there are some powerful themes of every single movie has something deep within them, and the characters, no matter how quirky they are, they have more going on, about them than just, hey, I'm quirky for the sake of it.
No, 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 that's true. I think for me, like if I'm trying to go back to ninth grade Foster, the
Hmm.
biggest thing for me, the biggest hurdle was the cadence of the dialogue. I think just didn't
Yeah.
register to me as comedic, and it just
Hmm.
registered as like stilted for no reason, and I didn't get
Hmm.
it. Like I just
Yeah.
was not tuned into his sense of comedy.
Hmm.
Also, I should say I did not see this in the theater. I saw it like right when it came out on like DVD or Blu-ray. Um,
Nice.
Nice.
yeah.
So my next one has a similar theme to my the next one as well is I hated Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind the first time I watched this movie. And I think the main reason is I hated the idea in it.
Hmm.
Like the idea of somebody going through and erasing somebody from their memory was such an aversive experience to me personally that honestly kind of just tainted the whole entire experience of watching the film. And I kind of like blocked myself from acknowledging the fact that like it's not like the movie's telling you this is what you should do and how to process a bad relationship or a breakup and stuff like that. I was just like, who the hell would do this?
Hmm.
And like 20 college age Shane was just like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Nobody should do this.
Hmm.
And why would you do this? And I was just mad at Jim Carrey's character the whole entire time. And because the thing is, and as you know, I've matured and understood other people's perspectives on stuff like this better. It's like it's very interesting because my wife and I broke up. We were together for over 2.5 years and then broke up for 3 years and got back together. We had two very different experiences in those 3 years because I don't forget anything. I'm the type of person that like I wouldn't want to forget the bad things that have happened to me because they've made me who I am. And my wife was like, I just kind of tried my best to forget you. And it's just like that's not my approach to life. And sometimes that could be a roadblock in your way of accept if you're not opening up to the film experience and what's being portrayed in the film and being willing to see where this goes, like I was not, then it could adversely affect your experience. But this is a really complex, engaging, and thoughtful film and how it navigates those things. Yes, you should remember
Hmm.
what the things that have happened to you. And yes, I know there's experiences that some people wish that they could forget. And you know, this is a very interesting thing because people do have this such a powerful adverse feeling of grief when a breakup happens that they do just want to erase it all.
Hmm.
But you know, then you're not going to learn anything from it. And that's the challenging thing. And that's what's so fascinating about this film. It's also really creative and incredibly well acted film. So now I do think it is a great film. It just, I was so adverse to what it was trying to portray in the film that I just kind of like blocked my ability to connect with it.
Yeah. I think to your point, people when they discuss movies online on the internet, they often seem to forget recently one thing. Just because movie shows you something you don't agree, that doesn't mean the movie actually promotes that idea either. Sometimes the movie shows you a bad person or a bad situation without actually endorsing it. But people see, hey, this movie said this bad or this character said this bad word. We don't say this word anymore, therefore this is bad movie. And I'm like, there is a context behind that though. Does the movie say this character who said or who did the bad thing, does the movie glorify it after? Probably not. Many times it doesn't. So, many times when people are like canceling these movies or like talking about, oh, this movie doesn't play well anymore, and take scenes out of context. And just like, look, they said a bad word right here, right here. See, can you hear it? Can you hear it? Yeah. And I think there is so that's the same like just because movie shows you this thing doesn't mean they condone it, and I think that's a very important part of this art and this cinema as a whole, where we explore all the ideas and all human beings, like good or bad, and the challenge is we need to be able to explore the bad ones without the fear of being judged that we are somehow hey, condoning this. No, 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 we're not, or some people don't, some people might. Anything you want to add, Foster, on Eternal Sunshine, feel free to jump in anytime.
I don't have anything specific to say. I love that movie.
Mhm.
But that I think it's I like this lessons we're taking away from
I know.
from each movie.
I know, right? So my next one is Casino Royale with the Daniel Craig as a first time of James Bond. And it's simply because I was too prejudiced against him being James Bond in the first place. I had
How
a
could they have a blonde Bond?
It's not even like not blonde, but I've always like when I was younger. So this movie comes out 2006. So I would have been 15. And when I was 15, I was getting into James Bond movies. I watched all the Sean Connery ones, and I grew up on Pierce Brosnan, so I watched those two, right? I haven't seen, I think I've seen one or two Roger Moore ones. I've never seen either of the Timothy Dalton ones. And I've always said, oh, this is such a bad choice for Bond because he looks like a Bond villain. Like I always said, he would make a great Bond villain rather than James Bond himself. I don't think this is necessarily a bad point looking back. Like looking back, I think he would do a great fucking villain. But I think a rewatch like my wife and I we did a Bond rewatch because I have a James Bond Blu-ray set. And as we were rewatching or watching all the ones I haven't seen, and then we gone to the Craig ones, I was like, oh, let's see if I still don't like it or because I just rated like three out of five, so like average. I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's an action movie. It's more like Jason Bourne. Am I right? Yeah. 15-year-old me was very very smart. And rewatching it, I was like, damn, this is a fucking excellent movie. This is an excellent action. Martin Campbell did it again with GoldenEye for Pierce Brosnan, with Casino Royale for Daniel Craig. The tension is there, the action is there, and Eva Green just it might be one of the penultimate Bond girls that actually is not just there for the shaggability factor. Let's just put it like that. Bond franchise
Breaking out
doesn't
your
have
Austin Powers
yeah, exactly.
with
Like
that phrasing.
I was trying to, I was like, let's not be totally nasty, but like the Bond franchise doesn't have the particularly great history with the Bond girls. Let's just put it like that.
Well, to be fair, James Bond's kind of a
Yes,
piece of shit.
not
So
kind of.
like,
He is. Yeah, he
yeah.
like
So
in real life he would be. Yes. But like and Eva Green, like the way, like you don't even know, and now since Daniel Craig era is done, you know how much impact Vesper had on has had on his character specifically, and how he never gets over that. I don't think we can spoil a 20-year-old movie like she dies at the end. So like, and he never actually gets over it. And I think so it's one of the most like, so it became, it went from like, oh, this is my least favorite Bond to, I think now in my ranking, this is like my second or third favorite Bond out of all of them. Yeah, I thought it was a great
What's
movie.
number one?
I'm in particular to GoldenEye. Like I love me like the Pierce Brosnan given was dealt with like a short end of a shitty stick, and I think this is his only great movie. He's the other three. I can defend two out of those three, like being fun and campy.
agreed.
Yes, we all know what's the outliner. We all know
Yeah.
Die Another
Yep.
Day is the outliner, even though it has Halle Berry. Like, yeah, it has Halle Berry. I'll leave it at that. It's just no. But yeah, so Pierce Brosnan, to me, that's the even him and Sean Connery, like that is the ultimate Bond because I grew up watching him. GoldenEye is still one of my favorite movies of all time. Like period, not just James Bond movies of all time. And yeah, so but no, this one from being me thinking this is just a mid movie to no, this is an actually fucking great movie, great action movie, great James Bond movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Ava Green is sexy, alluring, and then Vesper's such a complicated character and is one of the few women who are actually interesting, layered, complex characters in like the whole entire Bond franchise.
Hmm.
And that film stands out in so many different ways. Obviously, I could talk about James Bond for hours. I watched I've been watching them all since I was like 7 years old, and have been extremely invested in that. And I remember watching Casino Royale for the first time and just being blown away. I'm like, this is
Mm.
so cool. But no, I made the joke because people were legitimately angry that Daniel Craig was blonde.
I know, I was one of them. Like when I was
And
15, but I was 15. To my point, to my defense, I was 15. So like I was dumb. Yes.
Casino Royale is my number two, right below Skyfall.
Nice.
And GoldenEye is definitely up there too. Because I was a GoldenEye kid, played the game, watched the movies. Pierce Brosnan was my Bond too. So
I've never see my GoldenEye is my number one movie without me ever having to play a single minute of GoldenEye in the game. This might shock
dang.
you, but I've never played. I know of the game because of the internet. Apparently, because of the internet, I've learned, oh, there was a game and it was very popular from what I see, but I've never played it.
That game's the reason why I can't play modern first person shooters because I only know how to play a first person shooter with one joystick.
Uh,
I'm like, why are there two of them? Why do I need to use two of these?
yeah,
And it's really funny because if you actually talk to gamers, they hate the gameplay of GoldenEye because the one limiting joystick is ridiculous. I'm like, that's what I learned.
yep,
But
yep.
anyway, Foster.
Um, let's see. I'm gonna do Scream next.
Wow.
I watched this. I watched this. Yeah, a lot of my favorite movies are rewatches that I didn't like the first time or didn't love the
Mhm,
first time and then grew to appreciate. So, um, I think I gave this a 6 out of 10 the first time I watched it. I don't remember. It must have been. I mean, it was over 10 years ago, around 10 years ago, and I don't know why I didn't really like it that much. I think it just didn't really strike me as that interesting or unique at the time, maybe. Like it just felt like a generic horror movie to me, and I didn't really appreciate what it was doing. I certainly didn't appreciate the meta angle of it, or maybe I thought it was corny even. And then I think maybe the 90s-ness of it also just felt like, this is kind of just a corny horror movie. It's not really that Matthew Lillard, like what is he even doing? I think that was my energy when I first saw it.
yeah.
Foster, when were you born?
I was born in 1999. I just made the cut. And I just I don't know. I don't know really what it was. I don't think I hated it. Like I think I liked the opening maybe. I think I just maybe I didn't know what it was, and
Mhm,
that's why I didn't appreciate it. And then I watched it again when I was in college, and I liked it a lot more, but like at an 8 out of 10 level. I was like, oh, you
mhm.
know what? I think I get this. This is fun. This is like it's like intentionally kind of campy. Everyone's hamming it up a little bit. I understand. The meta thing is fun. I like the opening a lot. And then I watched it again, and then I watched it again, and I've seen it like a handful of times. And every time I watch it, I'm like, this is like the best movie I've ever seen in my life. It's so fun. It's so cleverly directed. There's so many little things that Wes Craven does. I mean, like the doorknob in her room, the way that's designed is just like a little example, or just like the construction of a scene, like the 30-second delay on the recording at the end and the climax of the movie when they're in the van, and so they're seeing stuff from 30 seconds ago. It's so cleverly done. The writing is so smart. It's like smart writing that's disguised through a layer of 90s cheese. It's like everything about it I'm just coming to love. I love every one of these characters now. Like I grow to appreciate like David Arquette's performance more and more every time I watch it.
Hey,
I just watched Scary Movie for the first time like a few weeks ago, so I won't lie. That has colored my view ever so slightly.
Officer Duffy here reporting for duty.
Yeah.
being
Uh,
Kaiser Soze? Kaiser
yeah.
Soze?
But it's just I think for me my lesson is maybe like go along with the cheesiness of it and don't let something like that throw me off. Like I mean like if you probably saw this when it came out, then it probably doesn't even register as cheesy in the way that it does to me now. Because keep in mind I was
It's so
watching with like
90s.
yeah, I was watching it with like 2015 eyes, and I'm like, what is this? Like
Yeah.
it didn't completely click for me. But now I am much more open to like if something strikes me as kind of corny or a little strange, even like the new Superman movie, for example, has some like strange corniness element to it that I think doesn't really resonate with everyone, but now I lean into it like
Hmm.
full force. And I think you can sort of trace the development of my what I like in movies along with how I appreciated Scream through the years. I think it's like a good mirror to the way that I've also evolved as a person, where I kind of love that stuff now and treasure it.
Nice.
So, and then this was your favorite Foster until you saw Scream 7, right? Now that's on top.
It's really bad. I mean, gets worse the more I think about it. I actually dropped my Letterboxd rating after I
Oof.
first watched it because I'm just like, I don't know. I
I
never really
I
want to
actively
rewatch it.
I actively chose not to go see it in the cinemas. I'm like, you know what? All the behind the scenes issues. I'm like, you know what? This is one movie I'm gonna take a
Oh, what
stand
happened?
against. I know, right? Like nothing, no, nothing. Everything's fine. Everything was fine.
but the
Everything.
most important question, Foster, is what's your favorite scary movie?
Yes.
So my next one, similar to the last one, was I just took what the movie was portraying and hated it so much that I'm just like, I'm not gonna give this movie a chance. And that movie's Her,
Ooh.
because I'm a giant robophobe. And the idea of a man falling in love with an operating system was so adversive to me that I'm like, what the hell is this movie? So I didn't even give it a chance. And now realizing, watching this movie, which it's incredibly well directed, it's incredibly told, and Joaquin Phoenix's performance and his character are they're challenging, and he's such a complex character, and this representation of loneliness. And I think in 2026, the looming sense of male loneliness is becoming such a big impact on society that something like Her is really, really, really important. And realizing it's like, this is the kind of stuff that's going to happen. And because people are feeling so isolated from each other and they get lost in and how people are engaging with AI and the horrific things of like using it as it's your therapist, and all it is just it's set up to affirm things, and that case where it led to helping somebody commit suicide or encouraging them to commit suicides, like all of these things that's going on with AI today just makes this film ever more prescient and powerful. And 20-year-old Shane watching this was just really mad this guy fell in love with an operating system. And I thought it was really like, what the hell is this?
Mhm.
I once got into a 2-hour rant from like 11 o'clock at night to 1 a.m. with my friends because one of my friends suggested, but what if they made sex dolls that had artificial intelligence and they were the perfect partner for you? And that triggered me. I went on the whole entire thing. And all of you should know, when Skynet launches and the machines take over, I will be there on the front lines fighting for humanity.
And you don't even, well, I don't know, maybe you know, those sex dolls already exist. It's,
Oh, I
yeah, yeah,
trust me, I am sure they do. For
yeah.
sure. So,
Trust him, he knows. No, I'm just
How do you know, Shane?
because I'm going down and hunting every single one of them and destroying them. I'm a Blade Runner.
Oh,
Uh,
hunting now. This is how we're calling it. 2026
Mm.
hunt. I see. I see.
wow.
No,
Wow.
with
Wow.
her, I know, I know.
Wow, Luke. Wow.
I know, I know. With her, I just want to mention one thing. As much as I adore Scarlett Johansson and her voice performance in that movie, can we pour one out for Samantha Morton, who was the original voice of Samantha in the movie?
Oh.
She made the entire movie, and apparently it just wasn't working. So like Scarlett was just like, "Hey, Scarlett, can you just voice this, for like a few hours?" Okay, thank you. And yeah, imagine making a
Wasn't
movie.
sultry sultry enough of a voice.
Like imagine being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have this voice performance against Joaquin Phoenix. Oh, it's great. Oh, this is gonna be great for me. And then, oh, you've been replaced by Scarlett Johansson. Uh, what? And because it's a voice performance, it's very easy for us to do. Fuck. Like,
Well, I
and
guess at the end of the day, at least she got paid.
no, I know she did. So like, obviously she's probably laughing, but like, it must hurt on because like when you make a movie, there is a potential like you can always get cut down. Your scenes can get cut down. Speak to Sydney Sweeney, who apparently was supposed to be in Devil Wears Prada 2 as herself, but her cameo got cut.
Yep.
Okay, cool. That happens all the time. But if you're the main, one of the main for performances, you kind of think, oh, I'm safe. I'm safe. Oh, until you're not. Until Scarlett Johansson comes in, is like, and kind of nails it. So I'm like, I can't be mad, but also I feel bad for Samantha Morton.
You too. That sucks.
hmm
But we all know why they got Scarlett Johansson.
For the money, search for more money.
Besides the fact that she's a bigger name, but also
Yes.
like,
hmm
yeah.
No, so for me, my third one would be also a massive jump, and it's the original The Thing from 1980. Because the first time I watched it,
Well,
yeah.
it's not the
Oh, it's
original.
not. Yeah, technically, it's not the origin. No, technically, it's a remake. Yes, you're right. I
Yes.
forgot. I forgot. Yes, it is the remake, but it's different than the remake from 2011. So not that.
Which is a prequel
It's a prequel. Yes. So not
because
that. Yes.
because franchises are wonderful, right, Foster?
Right.
He would
Something
know.
about something about controlling the weather.
Who controls the
Something.
weather, Foster?
So we revel in what we are force fed.
Nice. Nice.
Thanks.
Nice. Okay.
Nailed
Yeah,
it.
say the whole entire thing right now.
I've only heard it 500 times.
Yes.
But anyway,
Uh,
go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, so and the reason I didn't click with it the first time, I'm gonna be honest, I just wasn't paying it enough attention because I kind of written it off like, oh, this is a cheesy horror movie from the 80s. Oh, big fucking oops. Okay, cool. And I was just kind of like second screening it on my laptop. Or I was doing things on my laptop as I was watching it on the TV. And I'm like, I need to give it another chance. I need to give it another chance. So like I knew I was wrong. And that's why I don't do these things because like I need to focus on the movies I'm watching. And yeah, I rewatched it for a podcast 2 years ago, and beautiful 4K. And yeah, that movie just slaps. That movie is it might. I don't know if I like Halloween or this one more from John Carpenter. Like it's a flip of a coin. Like on any day, I'll give you a different answer. But this movie is great. Kurt Russell and his mullet and the beard. The fact the only woman in the movie is the computer voiced by then John Carpenter's wife, and even the computer gets killed off very quickly. I'm like, okay, no, but it's a masterpiece on how to build tension. It's a masterpiece how to shoot movies in the dark, where you as a viewer can actually see what the fuck is happening, even if it's dark. And it's one of those like, who is the monster? Is anybody a monster? In the paranoia, the sense of paranoia that goes hand in hand with the actual Cold War happening at a time, and also AIDS pandemic, AIDS kind of crisis. It's the movie is touches on many things, and Jordan Carpenter understood if you make a horror movie, it doesn't have to be just a horror movie. It can be much more, and the best ones always are. Hey, this is not just about a scary boogeyman. This actually represents this.
Oh,
I
one of my
also had the
favorites.
th I had the thing on my longer list, like my letterboxd list. That's one that bumped up for me.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, my next one, I'm gonna go with The Village, M. Night Shyamalan,
hmm
2004. I have two lessons from this one for me. First, I don't know. Again, this was probably just another one I watched 10 years ago. This is how it goes, where I'm just like trying to see all the movies I've never seen, and then
hmm
um, uh, I rewatched it. Letterboxd tells me I rewatched it in February of 2021, and then I gave it 4 stars, and then December of 2022, and I gave it 4.5 stars. And I am going to watch it again within the next week because this is our next episode of Also See. And so stay tuned for that. Um, I guess. I don't know. But I remember like the first time I watched it, I think I thought it was fine. I think I thought the dialogue was really stilted and awkward, and to be fair, it kind of is. And I don't know if I knew the twist or not, but it certainly doesn't come as much of a surprise as the movie thinks it does, and so I think that also that also, hinders your experience. And I th think for a lot of people when they watch it, they either know the twist just through cultural osmosis going into it already, or you can figure it out because it's Shyamalan and he's going to do a twist, and this seems like the logical twist. You guys have both seen it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Um,
I was very, 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 very aware of
yeah.
the cultural uh perspective on when this movie came out because this made a lot of people angry.
I
Yeah.
knew that. I don't think I knew the twist, but like I think you touched on it, Foster. I think I went into it knowing, oh, it's a Shyamalan movie, therefore there will be a twist. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you end up rolling your eyes a little bit because you're like, well, of course, Shyamalan back at it again with another twist, and I don't know. I think my lesson number one is just because a movie has a twist, the twist is not the whole movie.
Hmm.
That's my first lesson, which is there are many things I like about this movie, and it's just in terms of the story, it is kind of a romance. There is some stuff with Bryce Dallas Howard and Joaquin Phoenix going on that I think is pretty meaningful. Bryce Dallas Howard's character, I think, is a fairly strong lead, and there's a lot of sort of hush hush characters, in the background lurking. The adults, like William Hurt, for example, I think gives a very good performance in this, and I think that the twist. For me, what it does is, yeah, it's like a Shyamalan twist, but it actually, I think, actually peels back the layers of the movie and reveals what it's actually about, which is about a bunch of uh, the older generation trying to protect the younger generation in the way that they best see fit. And I think there are so many parallels to religion or to, even just parenting, the ways in which parents try their best to create a safe life for their child, but perhaps are inadvertently harming their children, by creating too much safety for them. And I think there's just so much there to explore with this movie that I love. And so that's why I say it's not all about the twist. So like even something like The Sixth Sense, it's not all about the twist. There's so much more to that movie and to all of Shyamalan's movies, I feel, like aside from like, the ones that you already know are terrible. But like that's just something that I've taken away. My second thing is there's more to a movie than just story, because part of what draws me back to The Village is this is one of my favorite movie scores of all time. It's James Newton Howard is an absolutely unbelievable score, and I listened to it cover to cover. It's like one of the rare scores where I just listen to the whole album. It's just like too good. And it also has some of the greatest cinematography ever. It's Roger Deakins does the cinematography for The Village. It's a beautiful looking movie. If you just watched it on mute, you would be like, "Oh, this has to be one of the best movies of all time, right?"
Hmm.
And then you turn on the volume and you hear people talking, and you're like, no, it's still kind of like a weird middle era Shyamalan movie, which I've grown to love and appreciate. But then there's also the great costume work in this. There's kind of fun supporting performances too. So I've just grown into a movie viewer who, if the story doesn't completely work for me, that's okay as long as I'm vibing with the other elements of the movie. Sometimes there is enough to actually sustain me, and I think
Yeah.
that not everybody watches movies in that way, and that's fine because everyone has their different things that they appreciate. But for me, like this was one of the key ones for me that made me appreciate just the value of music and visuals and stuff like that.
That's the one I need to rewatch. Like I watched it once, long time ago, probably 20 years now. So I do need to rewatch it. But I remember thinking it was an effective horror movie. Like there are some genuine like scares in that movie, and the
Yeah,
threat of those like how do they call those monsters again?
I don't remember,
Oh, okay.
to be honest with you.
So yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those movies that I get frustrated with people
Mm-hmm.
because of their takes on it,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, because so many people hate this movie because it wasn't actually a monster movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just like appreciate the movie for what it actually was then. Like, and it's one of those things where like because I had watched Signs. I was very aware of this movie coming out, and the discourse around it is one of my least favorite discourses around any movie because it actually got kind of annoying
Mm-hmm.
with how people were reacting to it. And it's very interesting, Foster, because you mentioned that the twist was obvious. And that it's so interesting because it certainly wasn't for the vast majority of people who watched this because they got so angry it, it being turning out what it actually was.
And technically there are
And
two twists. Technically there are, about the monsters and about the actual ending.
Well, and that's always an interesting thing too, because The Sixth Sense has two twists too. It's
Hmm.
just, they give away one of them.
Yep.
And this film, and obviously, like you mentioned, Deakins makes everything better. I rewatched this and had such a adverse interaction with a friend of mine because he was like laughing at the movie the whole entire time. And he said it was so unbelievable that people could like create an isolated society away from other human beings. I'm like, that's absolutely ridiculous. Rich people do this all the time. Like, so it's this movie has such an interesting discourse around it, but I really like it. I like it a lot. And I think it was the last truly strong Shyamalan movie for a long ass time, unfortunately.
Sure was.
And the biggest twist of After Earth was that you could actually make a movie where Will Smith doesn't have any charisma in it.
Unfortunately,
I hate that movie so much. But
that
anyway,
was bad.
so my next one was going to be Mulholland Drive, and I'm not gonna actually use that one because I feel like that's an easy one that people are like, I have no idea what the hell this movie is and how to watch it multiple times. So I don't know if either of you have heard of the film May.
I have, yeah,
Heard of it.
never seen it.
A little bit story time. So I remember my first semester of college joining Alternative Films Club at Rider University. And this is where I met one of my best friends, Matt. We've been friends for 16 years. And we went to every single meeting of film club that semester. And I remember when they showed this movie called May and directed by Lucky McKee. And this film is about a young woman who winds up killing people and sewing body parts together to create a doll.
Nice. I like
And
it.
on paper, that sounds crazy, and it is. And I remember my experience watching this movie. There were 7 people at the beginning of the meeting for film club. There was 3 of us left by the end of the movie. 4 people walked out of this movie,
Sign of pure cinema.
and it was myself, my friend Matt, and his friend Remzi. We were the only 3 that sat through the whole entire movie. And I was disturbed. I hated it. And I'm like, what the hell did I just watch? And this was pre Shane actually watching horror movies because I'm a big baby and I'm afraid of them. And it was so funny because I own this movie as I held up to Foster and Luke because my buddy Matt found a copy of this and bought it for me and thought it'd be funny to give me this. And then I looked it up. It has really good reviews. And I'm like, what? And then I watched it and I'm like, this is actually a really interesting exploration of loneliness and disconnection and artistry. And I'm like, I did not get this when I was 18 years old when I watched this movie. I was too perturbed by the body horror of all of it and realizing this is a very emotional story about a very lonely young woman
Hmm.
just desperately trying to make a connection. And I would recommend it, checking it out. It's an interesting film, and it's certainly one that just horror was not my thing at the time, and I was not I was not mentally or emotionally prepared for this.
Hmm. Two things I've checked, and this movie is streaming for free on Plex, so it is available. I'm adding it to my watch list. And second, that premise reminds me, I think you, Shane, might have seen this, the house that Jack built.
Oh,
Foster, have you seen that movie?
Yeah, the movie where Lars von Trier pleasures himself on screen for 2.5 hours. But I also like that movie a lot. But yeah,
I,
there,
I was gonna say like
about a
that.
serial killer.
Yeah, about
yeah,
a serial killer who does some serial killing, including children, and then
yeah,
builds a
yeah.
very big house from the dead bodies. And then, like, so that when he talked about that movie, Shane, about movie May, I'm thinking, damn, that reminds me, like, kind of this. Because, like, it's one of those movies that's hard to recommend. You say, oh, I really enjoy this. Because I don't want
Would
to
not
rewatch.
recommend this movie to the vast majority
It,
of people, but I feel like I can recommend this to both of you.
and that's how
I
I
So,
feel like I'd
feel.
be into it.
Yeah, me too, because that's how I felt about it, that, the house that Jack built. I'm like, I cannot
This
recommend it to anybody.
this is a
This,
very different vibe though,
yes.
and very
Okay.
much from a woman's
hmm
perspective kind
hmm
of thing, which I think House of Jack built is aggressively a very
Very,
masculine experience.
very aggressive, but also very kind of Greek. Because like when the movie progresses down, like deeper and
You mean
deeper,
when it turns into Dante's Inferno?
I'm like, is this
What?
supposed to be this? And I'm like, oh, it is. And I'm like reading about it. I was like, holy shit. And like, yeah, okay, cool, 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 cool. Yeah. We all have hobbies, I guess. Cool. So,
Just
okay. Yeah.
just to clarify what I was saying earlier, the of Lars von Trier, like getting high off his own supply is there's scenes in House That Jack Built where he references his own movies and like the character is kind of a stand-in for him too, which just kind of makes me laugh. But I did actually like that movie
hmm
quite a bit. I think Matt Dillon's great.
Matt
It's a
Dillon is,
fascinating movie.
it is. Matt Dillon is awesome. It's just, it's hard to say I loved it. I kind of did, but it's hard to say because like I'm, holy shit, there are some scenes that are very tough to watch.
I feel like it's hard to be like, I love Lars von Trier, and people not giving you a weird look of
Yep.
like,
Yep. hmm
it's
Because he's a one crazy dude.
make some interesting films.
100%. Like Melancholia? That's a what a movie. What a movie. Anyway,
One of the more accessible ones.
like probably the most accessible, and that's saying something. Like this like drama about depression is the most accessible of your filmography. Like
Well, for a lot of people in 2026, I think that is. But
exactly.
anyway, Luke, what's your next one?
So now for something completely different, my second. So this is like we're talking like a bigger jump. Like a film I watched and I thought this was fine. I don't understand what the big hype is. To rewatching it last year for your podcast, for one of our podcasts, Ran. Akira Kurosawa's Ran. Like that movie is might be my favorite Kurosawa right now until I maybe rewatch like Seven Samurai and some other movies of his because that movie is impeccable. That movie is beautiful. It's almost 3 hour, but this feels like when people say this is an epic movie, this is what like this is how I imagine epic. If you look up epic in the dictionary, there should be a poster of that movie. Like it's a historical epic. It's you can tell obviously there's the Shakespearean influence, but it's so much more. It's so vivid. It's so beautiful. It's so precise. And I always say like and then you read about how Akira Kurosawa was actually going blind, going during the production because he age, and so how he had to animate this like the shot by shot like years in advance, and he had it all penned down. So the camera and the cinematographer was just following what he drew a couple of years prior to that, and just to execute that on such a scale and such a level, and do it so flawlessly and so effortlessly, like this is masterpiece, and it took me a while to get it. And when I finally got it last year and it clicked, I was just like, yeah, this movie is special.
At this point, Akira Kurosawa is like well into my top 10 favorite filmmakers and
hmm
my favorite filmmaker that made films not in the English language.
hmm
Like, and that's like by far. And I just watched Kagemusha for the first time, The Shadow Warrior, which is
Nice.
also another 3 hour later in career epic. I'm going to be watching Dreams
Mm,
for my watch list podcast and recording that soon. And just Ron was, I remember watching that. I watched that for the first time because I joined a Filmstagram movie club during COVID, where this page was running a movie club and they did an Akira Kurosawa month, and Ron was one of them, and just
hmm
it blew me away. It's an incredible feat of filmmaking for sure.
hmm
And if you have not dove into Kurosawa's filmography, you have so much to look forward to. And I'll tip my hand the next time I'm handpicking a filmmaker for Welcome to the Wasteland after Mel Brooks, it's definitely going to be Akira Kurosawa.
Yes. Yeah. Did you watch it, Foster?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's great.
hmm
I've only seen it once, but I liked it a lot when
hmm
I saw it like a few years ago.
Okay. Okay. So what is your number one pick then?
So just to say, I haven't really been going in any particular
Okay.
order. When I said that I had them sorted, that was for my letterbox list, but I've kind of just been picking random ones.
Hmm.
Um, I am gonna go with the Star Wars prequels. This was a big one because I used to be a big prequel hater. Like I really was nasty about it too. Like I would like pick fights with people. I would be like, you are actually stupid for thinking that these are,
So
like
you
I
were
was.
so you were the one leaving the mean comments to Hayden Christensen's Instagram page, yeah? So you were the one.
Mm, no, not to Hayden Christensen, but to anyone who was a fan, I suppose.
Okay.
No, but like I went through ups and downs where I think the first time I saw them when I was super young, I probably liked them, and I definitely liked Revenge of the Sith because like for me when I was like I don't know 8 or 9 years old, it was like the coolest thing ever.
Hmm.
So I've always had a soft spot for that one in particular. But then by the time I got to like high school and I had seen them a few times, I just felt like they were so like objectively bad, is like the way I would have phrased it. And like bad acting, the writing is stupid, no one acts like a person, blah 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 blah. The effects are terrible. Jar Jar Binks, what even is that,
Hmm.
like all the typical things. And then I've seen them now like a couple of times. Like I think I've seen them twice in this new era of my life where I'm trying to be a little bit more kind of like what I was saying with the village focus, not just on like the sort of surface level thing that is bothering me, but instead just look at it as a whole. Like, and when you look at the prequels, I actually think this is one where the story is actually the strongest element of it because the character work that they do, that George Lucas does, it is the coolest thing in the world. Like if these movies were genuine 10 out of 10 movies, like the arc of, 1 through 6 is so insanely awesome what they do with Anakin.
Hmm.
The like rise and then fall and then the re ultimate redemption. Like it's like so speaks to me in a way that I can't even explain how cool I think it is. And I I like the effects are not always great. They get better as the prequels go along. They're pretty good in Revenge of the Sith. At least they're not distracting. Jar Jar Binks is goofy. Yeah, like some of the performances are kind of stilted, but I actually think there's good performances. Like Ewan McGregor, I think is great.
Hmm.
Ian McDiarmid, I think is great. I think Hayden Christensen has moments where I'm like, you know what, I see what he's doing there, and I kind of like that. But uh, I don't know. I enjoy Samuel L. Jackson. Like there's people who I think are giving good work or doing good work in the movie, and the John Williams scores are ridiculous. I like some of the music in the prequels better than the original trilogy, and the original trilogy's music is perfect. Like absolutely insane stuff. I like seeing the different locations. I like the lore building. When I think of Star Wars, like when I was a kid and I thought about Star Wars, I would be thinking of the lightsaber battles in the prequels, is like the first image my brain goes to. And so
Hmm.
I think that we don't give enough credit to the prequels for how it shapes people's image of Star Wars in their head now, modern day. When you think Star Wars, what are the first few things you think of? And I think there's a lot that the prequels adds to like the lore and the mythos. Maybe even more so than the original trilogy in some respects in terms of the way it tries to expand the world. And I think I just really, really appreciate the ambition, even if the execution wasn't always there. And I actually do think Revenge of the Sith is quite good, though. That's one that I will defend a bit.
Hmm. I've always been a prequels defender. I grew up watching that, so I was like, yeah, no, if this is trash,
Yeah.
call me Panda. This is my trash. Like, I'm fine. And watching the sequels trilogy, no, they are 100% better. They are 100% because there is an overarching plan for the story, for the characters. There is an actual plan in place George had for the trilogy. Should he have had somebody else written the actual screenplays? Yes, 100%. The dialogue is not and was never his strongest suit. Yes, he's the visionary for the story, for the overarching narratives, for the overarching like characters. Cool. Give it to right. Give it to somebody else, and those movies would have been actual. But if you go to my letterbox, all of them are 5 out of 5. I will defend them to the day I die because they had a plan, they stuck to the plan. There is a narrative structure to them, there is an actual character structure to all the characters. Even if some of them are a bit dumb, like, hey, how do we actually kill Padme? Oh, she dies of sadness. Oh, okay, cool.
Well, It's so funny too because so much effort has been put into the greater Star Wars lore to smooth out some of those elements.
Yep.
It's like Palpatine had a hand in Padme dying of sadness, but that's not all in that movie, and that's such a fascinating thing. Is there's so much Star Wars lore, and it's so funny because they're even spending so much time trying to fix some of the stuff that they introduced in the Rise of Skywalker, all the cloning stuff that they've been putting in the Bad Batch and
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
Yep.
These
This is
things.
what we call red coating, Shane. This is what we call red. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And I think it can be very lazy, but honestly, with Star Wars and the MCU, I will buy into all the crazy ass world building that they put into those things because I've been invested my whole entire life that I can remember for with Star Wars in
Hmm.
particular. And then since 2008, I've been bought into the MCU. So like those are the few things I could give like that's to. I'm like, and I grew up on the prequels. They were some of the biggest things in my life growing up. I still think that Phantom Menace has way too many flaws in it for me to be like, this is actually a good movie. But, Revenge of the Sith is like an absolute banger, just except anytime Anakin and Padme are talking to each other.
Hmm.
Those things I could do without. But like, and that's some of the biggest things about Attack of the Clones too. But like, there's so many great things in the prequels, and that's the thing. George Lucas is an ideas guy, and he has the big picture. And he did the same thing with Indiana Jones. It's just he let Steven Spielberg do the hands-on work with Indiana Jones. And I think it would have benefited if he had somebody else do some more of the hands-on stuff with the prequels, but he didn't, and they exist. And I own them. I'll still watch them. I'm a big sequels defender.
Hmm.
2 out of 3 of them. Um, and but the thing is, it's like the first 6 films benefited so much because of vision and
Hmm.
ideas that the sequels completely lacked, and that was Disney's fault
Yep.
for not preparing that properly. If you're just gonna do that, just let J.J. Abrams give his full vision across them. Don't and hire Ryan Johnson, somebody who specifically divert a like his thing is to play with and mess with people's
Which
expectations.
which 2 out of 3?
I I love The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
isn't it
okay.
obvious?
You were making me so nervous. You were making me so
No,
nervous what you were just saying about Ryan
Foster is there
Johnson.
sweating,
no.
just like,
I'm saying if you, as somebody running a studio where you have
Yeah,
millions
yeah.
upon millions of people who come in and expect the Star Wars thing, it's your fault for picking somebody who's going to mess with
yep,
them
yep.
and then them being mad about it. And here's the thing, I love The Last Jedi. It's one of my favorite Star Wars movies.
Hmm.
I appreciated what Ryan Johnson did. He
Hmm.
pissed off a lot of Star Wars fans purposefully,
Oh, he sure
honestly,
did.
because that's how he's going to do his thing. And that's Disney's fault for not like keeping a hand on what they were trying to do. And honestly, that's one of the biggest issues of Disney Star Wars is not having enough of a plan, which is why I appreciate what Dave Filoni and John Favreau are doing because at least they have a plan
Yep.
with all the stuff they're doing.
Hmm.
But no, the prequels are always going to be special to me, no matter if I think all 3 of them are great movies or not. I do legitimately think Revenge of the Sith is a great movie, but God, the themes and the story and the overarching narrative of all of them is some really impressive storytelling. And I'll be the first one to admit, I write screenplays. My dialogue is my weakest part of me trying to write them. And honestly, I'd much rather have somebody come in and touch up dialogue for me than to just produce it myself because I know it's not a strength of mine. So
Yeah, yeah. No, I'll defend prequels. Like, they are not the best of movies, sure, but they are so fun. And Duel of the Fates,
the greatest piece of music ever put in any Star Wars, right? Right?
like
Right?
that
Right?
alone uplifts that, like the first, the first Star Wars, or not first, but the fourth Star Wars movie by itself, on at least like one extra level. Just that,
A whole star goes directly to Duel of Fates,
and then
which is
the
also why the new Darth Maul Shadow Lord show drops that in the first episode. I'm like, because it's that great.
Well,
So,
he was there doing the dual wielding lightsaber battle with him, Ewan McGregor, and Jesus. Liam Neeson.
yep.
Yeah.
So the last thing I'm going to say about this, because we should probably move on, and I'll do my last movie, is one of my favorite memes on the internet is the Joe Rogan and like the UFC guys being like freaking out because something cool happens is when Darth Maul puts that lightsaber out and that second blade turns
Yeah.
on because that was everyone
Yes.
who saw that for the first time were just like, uh
Yep.
I could also talk about Star Wars for hours, but I won't. Now, my last one, and I'm not going to name names, and I highly doubt any of the people who I'm going to be alluding to actually listen to any of my podcasts at this point because I don't talk to any of them anymore. But there were a group of people, particularly two people, that I watched a bunch of movies with at a particular point in my life, and they ruined so many experiences watching those movies because they were being jerks and just laughing at the movies needlessly. I have not rewatched the movie Carol since, but they ruined Carol for me and I hated that movie.
Mm.
And that's one I do legitimately want to go back for. But one movie that I did rewatch and absolutely love is It Follows.
Oh, nice.
They laughed at the movie the
Mhm.
whole entire time, saying it's stupid, it's ridiculous, none of this is scary. And sometimes who you watch a movie with could absolutely ruin the experience. They talked the whole entire time, they were just being jerks about it. And I wish that I saw that movie for the first time alone, preferably in a theater, probably with half my face covered because I'd be freaking out because I'm a baby. But that movie is an incredible piece of horror filmmaking and such an incredible concept. And there's so many haunting moments and disturbing imagery. I just sometimes I'm sure both of you have movies that you wish that you could have had your rewatch of the first of a movie for the first time. That's one of mine. That's towards the top of my list.
hmm So funny enough, I've only watched It Follows once last year for the first time. I've heard so much about it, and I absolutely adored it. I was like, damn, this. Like, I'm watching the movie, and because of the how many times I've watched Halloween, the first one, the original one, I'm like, damn, these are clear homages to Halloween. Am I fucking dreaming? And then I go to IMDb trivia. I was like, oh yeah, and then, like one of the trivia is like, oh, big inspiration was Halloween on this director. I'm like, yes, thank you, thank you. Like there are certain shots, the synth music, and here and there, like the way the it that follows can be anywhere, and you're just scanning the entire screen. I thought it was effective. I'm optim mildly optimistic for the sequel that's been actually now
Follow.
greenlit and actually will follow. You know, will it be called It Still Follows? I can only hope. Like but no, like I thought it was a great fucking horror movie. That was just like talk about effective scares. There are some genuinely effective jump scares, and I hate jump scares, but if you do them well, they can be effective. Also, what didn't help, I watched it in a hotel room because I was on a business trip. So like I was all by myself after that movie. I'm like, oh shit.
You're just watching the door. It's like nobody better walk through this
And
door.
no, yeah, and there were like some moments where it's hotel room, bunch of people around you, so like you hear like weird noise here and there, and you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was time to go to sleep, and like, this wasn't the greatest of ideas. I definitely had better ideas in my time. No, but that's a great movie. So my last one, and this is the biggest jump because I would say this movie I'm about to talk about started as also like 3 out of 5. So like I didn't hate it, but I was like, I don't understand the hype. But then I watched the actual proper cuts of this movie, and I grown to love it. And I think it probably would be in my like top 50 if I had a top 50 of all time.
Daredevil.
Yeah, no. Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner. Because yeah, like first time I watched it, it was the theatrical cut. It was the worst cut of them all. And I was like, what the fuck? Like this is so what? Like this is so weird. Like I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. And then after that, I learned, oh, there's several cuts. There's a director's cut, there's an ultimate cut, there's a final cut. Just for anybody who's never seen it or has seen it and they are not sure, make sure you watch. I would say the general consensus, the final cut is the best one. Like director's cut is pretty good if I remember correctly, but the final cut is actually where it's at. It's a masterpiece of a vibe movie. It's just the fact it happens in what 2016, 17? Is it 19?
19,
I
isn't
can't
it?
remember. I know we've already passed the year where it actually happens. But back in 1980, it's like, oh yeah, this is not almost 40 years from now. Oh, never mind, we already passed it. Foster is pinging us message November 2019. Thank you.
Yep.
And
I was looking it up too.
yep. And so yeah, and I guess the lesson from this movie is, this movie took me several tries, and it's ultimately worth it. And also kind of interesting. Sometimes the director itself doesn't actually understand what he's making because Ridley Scott is on paper still saying he believes. What was it? Oh yeah, that Deckard is a replicant. And Harrison Ford is against that idea because then he's like, that's undermining the theme of of humanity versus versus machines in our last fight. If I'm a replicant, it's a machine versus machine. Where is the stakes? Where is the team in that? So I'm like, Harrison, okay, chill dude, Harrison, but like he can call out Ridley Scott like that. Respect.
I have never seen the theatrical cut, honestly. I bought the final cut on DVD for $2 on Black Friday one year
Mm,
and watched it and was like, this is incredible.
hmm.
Love it.
Yep.
And never went back
Hmm.
and never looked back.
I also had Blade Runner on my big list, my letterbox list of one that bumped up after I think that's a pretty common one actually,
Yeah.
because I feel like people it looks like an action movie almost when you
Yeah.
look at the poster and the title and you just sort of assume.
Like a cool
Um,
sci-fi action, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like a noir, it's like
Yes.
yeah, but it's
You know,
it's
you mean
amazing.
when people watch Drive for the first time because they thought it was Fast and Furious and then they
Yeah.
sue?
I still remember that. I still remember how some people were genuinely mad. To be fair, I think that was the movie that changed how they promote movies. Because like there was a trailer that made it actually seem like this is like a Fast and Furious, hey, driving racing movie, and then like is this like weird pondering slow burner of a movie, and so I kind of get it. But yeah, no, the Blade Runner, like talk about like Foster, you're the soundtrack guy. The Vangelis score. I don't think I've heard anything as unique to that movie and to that complements that vibe of a movie as for this movie for a Blade Runner. Like that score just fits everything so perfectly.
I feel like Blade Runner is the ultimate vibes movie almost, where it's just
100%.
it's so much about the visuals and the soundscape. I mean, the plot is like fairly straightforward and steady.
Hmm.
There's the themes are very complex, but like,
Hmm.
I mean, it's you're watching it for the world and the way it looks and the way it sounds.
Hmm. Hmm. So, guys, do you want to do some quick shout outs? Like, just like one or two movies that, just we missed out on from our top five?
I feel like I already
Um,
brought up a couple, so I
Okay.
think I'm good.
All right. Foster?
I'm sure I'll just rattle off some titles that are up near the top of my list. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy is one that I thought was slow the first time I watched it, and I really love it now.
Hmm.
How to Train Your Dragon I saw when I was a kid, and I think I was like, oh, this is fine. This is like an animated movie. And then I watched it as a now adult and like started bawling. The original Halloween is one that grew on me a lot. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which I watched for your show, Shane, is one that I thought was like I just didn't really get it the first time I watched it, and now it's like one of my favorite Spielberg's. Signs, another Shyamalan movie. The Elephant Man is another one. I think I just wasn't really like prepared to be emotional as a kid, and so I saw this and I was like, "What is this?" And then I watched it as an adult and started crying. That's the running theme. Yeah, I think those are some of the top ones
Hmm.
for me.
For me, so Princess Mononoke, which I watched for also for one of your shows, Shane. I that
You
would
all
Yes.
are all welcome.
Exactly, exactly. The lesson here is you need to be on Sheen's show, so you need to rewatch some of the movies and like rediscover if they are any good. No, like that got bumped from 4 to 5 because I was like, this is a perfect movie. That this is a great movie. Also, Michael B. Jordan's favorite movie apparently. So I was like,
Mm.
based,
Because he's
and
cool.
he is. And the last two, they haven't been. So one has been bumped from 4.5 to 5, which is a very latest or a recency biased Train Dreams. It's the cinema experience with that movie really just tied it all together because I was able to rewatch it in a cinema before the Oscars. L- Fascinating, great. Like now my number one movie of last year. Like this is and we had some great movies. And last, this was 5 out of 5 straight away. It just now is in my top 20, and which is Across the Spider-Verse. Like that movie is now, I rewatched it 2 more times. For a movie from 2023, that doesn't happen that much. And I just I love it each time I watch it. I love it more and more. Everything clicks with me. Even the ending doesn't bother me anymore. Like even the ending, I'm like, no, ends beautifully. It's a Gwen story. It's not Miles' story. Yes, it's set up. I understand what you guys saying. I understand what people are saying. It is set up, yes, but it's a Gwen story. Gwen found her band, and they are about to take on everything and save him. So cannot fucking wait for the conclusion to that.
I'm the only one that brought up movies I hated and
Mhm.
then turned out to love because all five of mine were movies I like legitimately hated
Mhm.
and turned things around. Well, there we go.
Yeah. So, Foster, thank you so much for being here. We both had a blast. Before we say
Thank you for having me.
goodbye, not a problem. Before we say goodbye, what is the quick recommend you would want to give to anybody listening to this podcast?
Oh, like a movie or
Yeah,
something like that?
yeah.
Oh, I
Movie,
didn't
TV
plan for
show.
this. Malcolm in the Middle, the revival, I liked a lot. That was great.
It's
And I feel like was like better than it had any right to be. And I think for me, my favorite thing is that it just feels like a sitcom. It feels like a early 2000s sitcom in that it's like got goofy sound effects and goofy musical stingers and
Mhm,
like the
mhm,
acting is really really hammy and they're like talking to the camera and doing like this sort of thing like listen like I just haven't seen that in so many years and I've missed it so much and so I thought I don't know it was just so good and I feel like everyone in the cast or at least the people that they focus on the most are really good like Frankie Muniz and Bryan Cranston I think get the most screen time. I don't know how to say her last name. Jane something with a K. The mom is great. Do you know her last name? Shane Kanto, the
I
Wasteland Reviewer.
I have never watched Malcolm in the Middle.
Same,
No, no.
same.
Oh, it's so good. It's I don't think you need to necessarily go back to it, but like
Mhm,
if you watched it, if you're in the know, it's like a great sitcom. Um, and I don't think this revival is worth watching if you haven't seen the original show either, but it just
It's
does.
funny because I did watch the Scrubs revival,
Oh,
mhm.
and loved it, even though I've
yeah.
never watched Scrubs. So,
Damn,
Maybe you should watch it then. I don't know.
what a
I
rebel.
just
well, to be fair, it's only like a 2 hour commitment, right?
mm,
The new Malcolm in the Middle thing, right?
Okay.
yeah, but like barely. It's not even. It's
Yeah,
like it's four
because
episodes.
it's four
Ah.
episodes of 30-minute sitcom episodes, right? So,
Yeah. I
Hmm.
also just think they do such a good job because like Malcolm in the Middle is a show for kids. But they do a really good job of taking the kids format of the show and making it kind of PG-13 where like the humor is a little edgier than the original show, which I actually appreciate because it's like, yeah, like well, it's mostly adults who are going to be watching this. We're the ones who so there's like jokes about like Bryan Cranston and his wife's sex life in the show, for example, which would never be in the
Mhm,
original Malcolm in the Middle, but like actually really hits, the way they do it. Also, like Frankie Muniz is like this precocious little kid in the original show, who has this kind of crazy family, and now when they're depicting him in the revival, he's like an adult who's like in his 30s or whatever who has like trauma from his crazy parents and his family and he's trying to deal with it but like it works because it modernizes and takes that sort of frenetic frantic kid energy he had but like effectively transplants it into an adult's body in a way that actually feels believable. I just thought it was really really clever writing. I feel like I could talk about this
mhm,
revival for so long, the things I think it does right compared to so many other revivals and sequels and stuff like that. um yeah,
mhm.
I liked it a lot.
Okay. Shane, what do you have?
mine, I literally just watched this morning, and this will be coming out on Netflix by the time this episode drops, is
Mhm.
Swapped,
Mm.
the new animated film from Nathan Grano, who directed Tangled, who's now working for Skydance. And this focuses on a small woodland creature and a majestic bird are in this fantastical natural world where they find these little pods that allow you to change into a different species of animal, and they wind up turning into each other's species,
Okay.
and they go on this adventure, and it's feels like it harkens back to like old school fantasy animated films that are just like incredible world building and creatures and scale, and there's just something majestic about it that I really appreciate, and it has a really strong important message about empathy and connecting with others and understanding, and also harking back to some of the conversations we had, the destructive nature of loneliness and marginalization and how that can manifest. And the two main voice actors are Michael B. Jordan and Juno Temple, and I
Nice.
think they're both great. And Tracy Morgan has a very interesting presence in this film, and because he's like one of the only, and Cedric the Entertainer plays Michael B. Jordan's dad, which is a fun little addition to the cast. But Tracy Morgan has a really interesting role in the film. But the music is incredible too. And this was one that just kind of whisked me away, and I felt like I teleported into this magical fantasy animated world that's just all animals. There's no human characters or anything like that. And the animals are really cool, like the designs and everything. So this was one that I thought was really special, and I hope people check it out on Netflix.
Will do. That sounds cool. And animated movies are always fun. And Netflix has a surprisingly decent streak of animated movies. Like, K-pop Demon Hunters,
Yeah.
Mitchell versus the Machines, all that good stuff. So like,
I thought Sea Beast was a lot better than I
yes,
anticipated it going to be.
Sea Beast
So,
is good.
and what was the one with the moon? That one surprised the hell out of me
The
that it was
Moon.
Over the Moon or something like that that came out too. Honestly, they have some decent like they have a decent animation. Well, they connect with Skydance, I think, is what
Yeah,
who they're really working with. But and obviously Sony
I was gonna say,
for a
or The
couple of those
Leftovers
too.
from Sony is like,
So back to our original point that Foster brought up. Sony's I hate Sony when it comes to stuff. It's like how dumb could you be with some of this stuff? But anyway,
mhm.
but
So
Luke,
I'm on my mission, as Shane knows, like to watch more international movies this year. So I finally watched a movie that's been on also Netflix, on my Netflix queue for ages, and it's the Paul Sorrentino's The Hand of God. Which, funny enough, I know both of you have seen because I can see your ratings, so I know I'm the highest of you all on this movie, but I absolutely adored it. Like, talk about a vibes movie, talk about a specific. The more you make a movie specific, the more relatable it becomes. And this is the movie. This is the clearest example of that because many movies I cannot relate to. Like, there's some wild stuff that happens in this movie, but somehow it is relatable. This character, this young guy who just is looking for his place in the world, something, and is living for Diego Maradona, for his club, for football, for family, and then something very tragic happens to him that actually happens to the director of this movie. And you can feel how personal it actually is. You can feel the pain, you can feel everything, but somehow throughout all of that, there is some universality that comes through, and the final shot of him just reflecting on everything, you find yourself reflecting on not just the movie, but your own life. And it's all quirkiness, sexiness, the little things that make up life. And I think this movie is one of the most beautiful, most personal movies I've ever seen. I need to check out more of his movies. I know he's got quite a few. So I
yep.
know I know he is very interesting Italian. Like he's very Italian and very spicy. Yes, very spicy.
Yeah,
And
because what I remember about this movie is being really, really horny.
there is
Do
a
I remember
point.
that?
Yes, there's a point
I
like
remember one scene involving a
Yeah.
brush.
yes,
See, this is an Italian film, and I don't
yes,
want to just assume
yes.
because all of them are horny, but I remember this one being
Look,
particular.
look, is this young guy like kind of attracted to one of his aunts? Yes, yes,
Yeah, that's what I was remembering.
yes.
That is this movie.
But then you see the aunt, you're like, I kind of get it. It's like it's a joke, by the way. That's a joke. Like I need to go. No, but it's just no. It's
Well, we're not her nephews.
I was gonna say no, but
So
I like, and I think that there's something beautiful where, like, even if you never experience this, if you watch it and you let it, let it actually touch you inside, it actually does. And that movie it's lively, it's beautiful, it's quirky, it is sexy. It kind of makes up all of life, and it's weirdly personal but weirdly relatable on so many levels. And football is life, as one character from Ted Lasso constantly says. Because like, I think that, him in the Maradona thing, and how it plays very actual part, not only in this movie, but in in director's actual life, reason he is still alive today. It's insane. Like when you read about it after, I'm like, holy fuck. And apparently it took him a while to actually, like, he knew he wanted to make this movie, but it took him a while because he had to process his own grief. And when you get to that scene, you get it because it just feels unreal. But yeah, so I would definitely, if you're in the mood for something, bit of a comedy, bit of horny, a bit of horny, a bit of drama, bit of
watch something
sadness.
Italian.
Yeah, that watch Hand of God from Paul Sorrentino from 2021. It's been like, best international feature, like, it was one of the five. So, and I see why. I now see why. But gents, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for being here. Foster, if people have enjoyed you and enjoyed listening to you, where can they follow you?
But only if they enjoyed me. They can find
Yes,
me at
yes.
Letterboxd, or on Letterboxd at FOSTH101.
Mhm.
I am a part of two podcasts, as we discussed before the show. I do not run either of these two podcasts, but I am on them, and that is Also See with Robert, who we know from Sift Pop. This is where we recommend a movie back and forth to just check movies off our watch list or see ones that we wanted to rewatch. The idea hopefully being to kind of uncover some lesser seen gems. And then the other podcast is Franchise Paradiso, which I do with Heath and Rowan, also who we know from Sif Pop. And this is where we bicker and argue, and Heath and I just get into arguments as Rowan is like the child of his divorced parents, just sort of chiming in once in a while, trying to keep the peace. And we make rankings about different franchise topics like best action movie hero, best action movie villain. This season is action movies, which is why I'm saying action movies.
Mhm.
But yeah.
I'm super excited.
Same, same. Shane, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Instagram at the Wasteland Reviewer, where I shamelessly plug all the things that I do, including the Wasteland Reviewer YouTube channel, where I review films and have now moving forward, we're going to be one weekly show. Welcome to the Wasteland. I have the wastelandreviewer.blog, my website, where I write reviews and have some monthly articles. And I have a letterbox too. I also contribute to SIFPOP and knockawoodfilm.com. And obviously, here on the SPDM crew, I have myself quite a nice little menagerie of podcasts for sure. Do
Hmm.
love movies.
Yep. You're like the Thanos, just collecting them podcasts one by one, and just having that glove of podcasts. Fine, I'll do it myself.
And then he snaps and gets rid of half the podcasts.
Exactly. Like, so I'm in
Which I
constant
kind of
danger.
just did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And for me, as always, in movies lost on Letterboxd or here on this podcast every other Friday. And as Shane mentioned, we are part of SPN crew and we are always so thankful. And until next time, bye bye.
Bye.